Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a special webinar titled Academic and Professional Excellence, Successful Career Approach. Thank you all for coming. All right, so right about now, I'm going to be calling on the program manager of Efico Resources, and he's going to take the opening remarks. So thank you very much for coming, and we're glad to have you. Mr. Mike, please, you're on.
Yes, thank you very much, Onome. I hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Ojo, the Programs Manager of Efico Resources. And it is my privilege and pleasure on behalf of Efico Resources to have you all here today. Particularly, I want to heartily welcome our distinguished guest speakers for today's event. We have with us Auma Wogwo, the founder of Everyday Foundation, Angela Isibo, a process engineer and Gordon Fellow, Anushka Pandit, a freelance content writer, Ngozi Ukweni, a financial analyst at IFC, and finally, Ibrahim Alimi, 2018-2019 best graduating student of University of Lagos. We are delighted to have you with us. Through our YouTube and Facebook platforms. Efico Resources is a fast-moving student development platform that surfaced for the purpose of bridging the very common gap between the academia and the real world. Today's program is one of the many ways we are using to achieve this goal effectively, and it is themed Academic and Professional Excellence, the Successful Career Approach. And it is aimed at guiding undergraduates and recent graduates towards academic and professional excellence. Once again, I want to welcome our esteemed speakers and every one of us. So please sit tight to learn and enjoy today's event. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Thank you very much for that wonderful opening remark. Okay, so moving on, let's go quickly to the history of Efico. Who are we? What do we do? And I'm going to call on our director to please come and explain what we do very shortly. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Director, the floor is yours, sir. Mr. Director, can you hear me? All right, well, we'll come back to that. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and introduce all our guests. So, for our guests, we have Miss Mr. Alimi Ibrahim. We have Miss Angela. We have Miss Anushka, like Mr. Mike. We also have Miss Auma, Miss Ngozi. Yes, and these are our guests. Thank you. So, Mr. Director, are you ready now? All right, without wasting any more of our time, I think we can just dive right into the first session as academic excellence. by Mr. Alimi. So please, Mr. Alimi, can you go on? Mr. Ibrahim Alimi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, please go ahead with your session.
Okay, can you please grant me the access to share my screen?
Go ahead, you're free, you can.
I think you have to grant me access.
Right, go ahead, sir.
Okay, it's working now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ibrahim Alimi. I'm a recent first-class mechanical engineering graduate from the University of Lagos. I graduated as the best student for 2018-2019 session. I'm here to talk about achieving academic excellence. I know what I'm going to say here today is not going to be new to you. Maybe probably just my experience that is going to differ. But I do hope we have a very good time together. So going straight to the presentation. This code, I came across this code and it's something that I resonate with because it covers what I'm going to talk about today. And it says, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere efforts, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. So for me, what this quote is all about is just saying that achieving excellence is not by chance. It's by a deliberate effort and choice. So you have to be conscious of what you are doing to be able to achieve excellence. And it's important to also note that achieving excellence is not something you just do in one day. It's for a phase and you have to be consistent during that phase. So I'd like to talk about what academic excellence is. So, but it would be nice to first define what excellence is all about. So my definition is excellence is achieving steady levels of comparable performances that exceed expectations and are higher than competitors could achieve. I know, rather, I will not necessarily say that you are in competition with anybody. You are competing with yourself. So it's not like you are fighting for first position or second position, first class, and move on. But the key word here for me is steady levels of comparable performances. So for you to achieve excellence, you have to deliver, like exceed expectation, and you have to be consistent. So for example, now, if you want to finish as the best graduate student in your school, and you're studying a 4-year course or a 5-year period. So for academic excellence is simply achieving a top grade in academic activities. So scholastic activities, talking about your exam, your coursework, your research work. That's what academic excellence is all about. So I've highlighted some of ways or some of the things that I feel that you have to do to achieve academic excellence. And number one for me is never give up. So we all know life is not smooth. So that's same for academics. It's not as if it's something that comes easily, that you are just going to wake up one day and say, okay, you are going to have a first class and you don't work towards it. So and this one, I want to share a story pertaining to mine. So I remember my secondary school days, I was not an average student. I was way beyond average. But when I got to SS2, I was advised to sit for YGC, which I took the GC in SS2, and I made my grades. I had 5 A's and 4 B's. Then getting into SS3, I wanted to study mechanical engineering. I took the proper WAEC and I had 7 A's and I had 1 E, and the E was in further mathematics. So further maths happens to be one of the requirements for you to study mechanical engineering in University of Lagos. So that basically means I could not use that result. But thankfully, I already wrote GC in SS2, so I had something to fall back to. Another thing happened again. My jump, when I wrote my jump in SS3, I had 205. And 205, back then, Unilag was more like your jump was 50% and your post-UTME was 50%. So getting a mark of 205 was like half mark, like I have like 25%. So my chance of like getting into the University of Lagos was a bit slimmer because my jump score was not high enough. But at that point, I could have said, man, I don't think I'm going to make it into the university and stuff like that. But I was just determined and focused, and I knew that by God's grace and with my efforts, I'm going to like get into this school. Then I had to like sign up for tutorials and everything. And at the end, my name came out on the merit list. So I know a lot of people might actually be thinking I'm not good enough, or I didn't make school the very first year. I think for academic excellence, it does not matter if you have failed before. So it's something you just have to build on. If you failed before, you move past failure and you can always succeed. So another one is goals and targets. So I feel before you can say you want to make achieve academic excellence, you have to have a goal and a target. So for me, just like every other person that gains admission into the university, everybody wants to be a high-flying student. You want to finish best in your class, you want to finish best in your department, best in your faculty, or best in the school. So I had that kind of view. I wanted to finish well, not particularly see myself as the best grade student, but I wanted to finish with first class and finish a very good grade. So I set my target. I wanted to finish with the first class. And something actually pushed me, because I remember attending one orientation program in my school then. And they mentioned the case of giving 50,000 naira every year to every undergraduate that maintains a first class CGPA. So that was like a target for me. So as much as I wanted to make a first class, it was also something to drive me like, okay, if you actually finish with a first class this session, you're going to get 50,000 naira. So that was like a push. And my first semester I had the 5.0, then second semester I had 5.0, so I was on the 5.0. Then at that point, it could have been like, okay, you've gotten your 50K, you're on the first class, then things can, you are good to go, you can ride on. That kind of like you have already achieved what you wanted. But I think for you to achieve academic excellence, you have to keep setting new targets and raising your level of targets. So at that point, it went beyond just getting the 50,000 naira. It was more of, okay, now you're in 5.0, you can actually be the best in your class, you can actually be the best in your faculty, you can actually be the best in your school. So that's some of the things that should actually like push you. So you should have goals and you should also have a target. So the third one is going to be being strategic. So I think for you to achieve academic excellence, you have to identify your strengths, or know yourself basically, and identify your strengths and weaknesses. Are you the kind of person that you like to read at night? You don't like to read in the afternoon? For me, I don't like to go for overnight, stay up in the night, because I'm not an overnight person. My 5 years in school, I didn't go for any overnight. Are you the kind of person that you liked theory courses and not analytical courses? I prefer analytical courses, and I know that when it comes to theory, I'm not so good at it, and I need to like read the theory courses like 3 or 4 times before it could stick in a semester. So you have to know the kind of ability, kind of strengths that you possess. Some people do very well without going to classes. They don't need the lecturers to like help them. You don't need any tutorials. You don't need any lesson from lecturer. For me, I'm the kind of person that I need to go.
The family went to carry her bags out of the house.
So I'm the kind of person that likes to go for classes, copy notes, because that's the only way I can like understand what the lecturer is saying and know where I'm supposed to focus in when I get back to my hostel to read up. So those are some of the things that you should understand. You have to study yourself. Don't say because this person is doing this thing, you have to be like this person. You have to know where your strength actually lies. Then another thing I would like to mention is making work different. So like they say, show me your friend, I'll tell you who you are. So the kind of people you actually work with actually influence your performance. So for example, I finish with the first class. Most of my friends also finish with the first class. You should not make friends that will lead you astray. You make friends that you share the same goal and same vision. You want to finish with a good grade. You want to be a top performing student. You want to be known for this. You want to be known for that. So that's the kind of people you should work with because they actually help you to grow. Because to be very honest, no one is an island of knowledge. You don't know everything. You also need your friends to like put you through at times. The fact that I finished with a 4.9 CGPA doesn't necessarily mean I knew all my courses or I was master of all the courses. I took over 70 courses. It's not possible for me to know everything, but at some point you need your friends to step in and say, okay, understand this so you can actually like help yourself. So another thing again is avoid distraction. So it's very easy to get carried away in the university. A lot of activities. So it's for you to determine which particular activity suits you, and you should not get engaged in so many activities that you lose focus. Because it's very easy for you to lose focus. You are the head of so for this one, head of so for this one, you are volunteering for this, you are volunteering for that. At the end, you don't actually have so much time to focus on your studies. But you have to find a way to like strike a balance. So another thing is time management. I was one kind of person that was very good at managing my time. I faced a lot of distractions in school, and I didn't know how to like plan my time very well. So, and one of the things that I used to do so well in school was press my phone. I use my phone a lot. So when it's time to be serious, and I know that I want to be serious, I don't subscribe. I don't buy data. I just go offline because I know that if I don't have data, there's no way I'm going to like press my phone to Twitter, social media, and that kind of stuff. So you have to find a way to like manage your time and avoid distractions. And of course, be responsible. So this is very important. You have to put God first. Everything you are doing, it's only God that can help you. In as much as you put effort, you need grace of God to like bless your effort, crown your effort, and take every task seriously. So one thing about making a good grade is you have to take every task in school very seriously. If the lecturer says you have to have 80% attendance, you have to submit 5 assignments, you have lab reports to write, you have to do projects. Every task must be taken seriously because you don't know which one actually counts. We've had so many cases whereby we wrote so many assignments, then the exam comes, out of 4 questions, you're only able to answer 2 or 1 because the questions were so hard, and the lecturer will be like, okay, the performance this time was very, very poor. I'm going to use your assignment to like do the upgrade or use their performance in the test or assignment that are given to your project are given to you to like make up for the loss in the exam. But if you don't do your assignment, you don't take every task serious, you are going to miss out in that particular area. And again, I also want to highlight that for academic excellence is like a collective effort. So it's not like secondary school whereby you can say, I want to get 90 in this course, then this course I can afford to like get 70, or I can afford to like get 40. At the end, everything is going to complement our 50%. So for the university, it's more like a CGPA, and you have to make all A's for you to have a very good CGPA at the end. So every course matters, even if it's 1 unit or 2 units compared to the 4 units. So you have to focus on every course and take it as if they are all equal for you to make a very good grade. Then be a good leader and team player when necessary. So for this one, I observe that in the university, not everyone is focused. Not everybody wants to do the work. Sometimes you are in a group of 5 or 7 people, maybe just 2 people are willing to work. And because 2 people are willing to work, it might affect the activity of others. So for example, if you are putting a group that your group leader is not talking about academics, you might not get any results, you might fail the project. So you have to know when to take up responsibilities and be a good leader when necessary. So you lead your team project. For me, everybody I worked with back in school knew that if you are in my group, you just have to work because we are aiming for the A. So everybody, they're usually very excited to like for me to be on their group or to be their group leader. Is usually excited because they know they're going to get results. So you have to be the kind of person that you're going to be a good leader and team player when it's crucial, because this at the end is all about your grade. Then avoid procrastination. So for me, I was not the kind of person that likes to procrastinate. I spoke to someone and she was like, I like to procrastinate because when the deadline approaches, like I have 2 days, I actually work better. For me, it was very, very difficult for me. I need to like work far ahead of time because I don't like to put myself under pressure, because when I work under pressure, I tend to like make errors, make a lot of mistakes, and the output is not always the best. So if I have any work in hand, I look at it like, even if the deadline is in 2 weeks, I start the very first day. So it gives me the room for me to like make amendments, or if there's a change, I can easily adapt. And the way school work is, even if you have 2 weeks, you can't say, even if you have 2 weeks, you can't say I have 2 weeks to do this, because you don't know what will come in within 2 weeks. So maybe 2 weeks from now, you are looking at it like you don't have anything, it's just this project. Two days later or 3 days later, lecturer can say, okay, I have this assignment for you, I have this project for you, or you have to write that report. So you can actually predict what's going to happen. So that's why I tend to avoid procrastination. Then, and of course, you have to have a mentor. So a mentor in the industry, you can have a mentor in school, maybe your predecessor. So someone that guides you and tells you how you have to get around courses. Like, okay, this particular course now is so difficult. These are the things that you need to do for you to pass this course. People that have gone through the stage will actually like share their experience with you. And of course, you should know that records are meant to be broken. So in as much that they tell you, some people will tell you that this course, there's no way you can make A in this course. This lecturer is so strict. It does not give you mark. It's going to fail you. What kind of stuff? Yeah, things like that happen. Things can change. Maybe the next time you are going to take the course can be under lecturer, or the lecturer has a different motive or everything. So, but if you already enter the semester with that kind of mindset that no, I cannot do it in this course, or they already said they failed the last year and nobody had A, the highest was C, then you're already beating yourself, because you will not even expect much, like you just be going for a C. Then another thing I want to mention is the fact that some people concede to failure even before the semester starts. I don't like people that enter the semester with the mentality that, okay, as I'm going into this semester, this course, I want to get a C. If I get E in this course, it's fine for me. I don't want so much. I don't want A, just a B, because before the semester has started, you've not even done anything. You're already saying you want to get a B. So how would you get an A at the end? So these are some of the things that you should try and avoid if you actually want to make a very good grade. I think this would be the end of my slide. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I've been able to share some knowledge. I know not everything I say relates to everyone. It's just some words of advice and sharing of experience for you to like pick what applies to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Alimi. Whoa, wow, that was an excellent session. I hope I'm not the only one that learned something from there. Please take his word for it. He graduated with a 4.98 CGPA, a 4.98, I repeat. So please, anything he says, take it as law, because yes, he has done it. So moving on quickly, we are going to go into our brief history of Efico, taken by our director. So please, Mr. Director, we're ready for you now. Please go ahead.
Can we hear me? So I'll be taking the brief history of Efico and then how Efico resources actually started and what we do presently. Yeah. So from our mission is to we use a personalized self-assessment test to help undergraduate know themselves and then channel skills in the direction of their natural abilities. So majorly, that's the mission that we plan, and then the vision is to churn out exceptional graduate every year, and by extension, instilling Efico in the minds of every undergraduate. So our core values is lots of people have been asking me, please, what is Efico really all about? But Efico is more like a Yoruba word that means someone that is very smart and someone that is versatile. But our core values are coined from the letters of Efico, which is efficiency, faithfulness, integrity, communication, and then organization. And then let's start about where Efico actually started. Efico started from the University of Lagos, and it started from my founder level, where I was able to connect first-class students to students that want academic excellence. So that was the old essence of Efico before, where it was more like a private tutoring platform where I get my guys that are on the first class and then connect them to people that really want academic excellence. So that was the old essence of Efico. And then after I graduated from the University of Lagos, I had to do several rebranding. So I did a lot of business model refinement and get my team members and get lots of people to actually join and then to bring the vision to fruition. Coming from the journey so far, you come to see that it started with a different logo before, and then these were the people that really started with me on the on the left-hand side. And then if you look at the right-hand side, you tend to see the minimum viable product of the Efico that we see today. You get so from the logo, you tend to see a yellow at the top, and that yellow actually means that you are above your peers. You are above your peers. When you are an Efico, you are above your peers, and that's the whole essence of us. So from the right hand side, you tend to see these were the first people that actually joined Efico. These were our minimum viable products, the people that we started with during the like when it started, when the real business model actually started. It was more like our minimum viable product. So after we started from the University of Lagos, we were able to extrapolate the same business model to several higher institutions in Nigeria. So presently, Efico is in about 25 schools in Nigeria, 25 major universities in Nigeria, and then we have about 35 campus ambassadors that actually that take on our model, and then they tend to train and then tend to give their hub members what we actually give them. So we are using the trainer model to actually help them to leverage, in the sense that we train campus ambassadors and we give them out to actually train other people. So you come to see where we started. We started very small, and then when I graduated, we had a minimum viable product, and the minimum viable product was extrapolated to several high institutions in Nigeria. And so going forward, we plan to spread our tentacles to other higher institutions in Africa. The whole essence of Efico, this was me pitching the minimum viable product and telling the masses the whole essence of Efico. I was pitching the minimum viable product, and then I was saying that the whole essence of Efico is not to eradicate the academia, but we are here to actually support the academia. So we are not saying that we are trying to eradicate the school is a scam methodology that's been rampant amongst undergraduates for now. When students graduate, they tend to say that school is a scam because what they are learning in the academia is far different from what they actually get in the real world. So what we actually intend to do in Efico is to bring the industry to the academia, so that while you are in school, you can actually get the old feel of the industry, so that when you graduate, you tend to graduate truly successful upon graduation. So our unique selling proposition is the fact that we actually address from the grassroots. So from your year one, you join the Efico hub, and then you are apprised, and then you are exposed to several things that you need to do before you actually graduate. So some of the things that we do is the fact that we as a byproduct, we also expose these students to several internship and scholarship opportunities, so that even when they are in school, they can be financially independent. We also have an investment society where we actually support students to actually invest, to invest their money, and then before they even graduate, they have something to actually own. So when they are getting the scholarship and the internship money, they are investing it, and then before they graduate, they can use it for something. And so the whole essence of Efico was to make education make sense to all undergraduates. And so it was to make education make sense. So that's why our logo is saying that your education will make sense. So we are trying to allow the fact that since you are saying education is Efico is coming in to say that yes, education can actually make sense. We can actually bridge the skill gap between the industry and the academia, so that when you graduate, you tend to graduate successful upon graduation. So the thing is, in Efico, we actually believe in professional excellence and academic excellence. We actually believe that you can graduate with the first class and then have these first class skills that can make you employable. And from then, you are truly successful upon graduation, allowing you to have education to make sense to you. And that's what our slogan is saying, your education will make sense. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Director, for that wonderful session. Thank you for explaining to us, to everyone watching, what we do at Efico. So thank you very, very much for that session. So quickly, before we go into the next session, we would like to do an icebreaker, and this icebreaker is just, we're going to give our recharge card. So in case, please, I know we're people who are big boys and big girls, women, so you don't really need it. So in case nobody really wants to load, I can always load it by myself. I don't mind. But just for calling sake, let me call it out. So please, do we have any MTN user in the house? If yeah, just type Y in the comment section. If you use MTN, type Y in the comment section. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to call it. Are we ready? All right, so 0070328328519208, and the final digit is 7. So did anybody get it? If you got to talk now, don't do like this. All right, so let's move to Nine Mobile before our time is up. Nine Mobile users in the house, get ready. So I'm calling it now. 2492616527067114. Oh, okay. So Mubarak Salisu got the MTN. Nice. So I've called Etisalas. Let's move on with our let's move on with our program. So next we're going to have a session titled Preparing for Your Career by Anushka Pandit. Now, for those of you who don't know, Anushka Pandit is a computer science engineer, but she shifted field to follow her passion of writing and media. In her undergraduate years, she has worked pro bono for many literary magazines in editorial roles and taken up freelance projects in content writing. She has also delivered 2 courses on writing as a skill and editing for undergraduate and postgraduate research candidates. She's a freelance content writer. She's currently pursuing an MA in Media and Communication Studies. So please, let's give a warm welcome to the next to Anushka Pandit.
Thank you, Anmi. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Can you just confirm if my voice is audible properly?
Yes, you can hear you very well. Right.
All right, thank you. So I do not have any slides for you, so I'm just gonna speak the whole time. I hope nobody gets bored. So all right, Good afternoon, all. So, Anami, just let me know in case my voice breaks in between, right? Because I'm kind of logged onto another screen here. I might not be able to see the Zoom window. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you. So, good afternoon, all. Thank you, Team Efico, for having me here today. I am honored and very excited to interact with all of you, share my story, and hear yours. So let me start. You know, when Michael came to me to ask if I would be interested in speaking at this event, I asked him why he thought I was eligible enough to speak. And he told me how he went through my LinkedIn profile, etc., and that he could see some of the important skills that I might talk to you all about. So we decided that I will talk about how I worked in my undergraduation and made a shift in my field of study or field of work. But more than that, I want this half an hour to be about all of us. I might share my story with you, the process, the challenges, but what I would like would be for all of you to talk about the problems and challenges that you are facing as undergraduate students right now, the smallest and the biggest of questions that you have, right? I mean, I don't want to say any inspiring words because you can get enough of that online on the internet. So let me start with my story in a few words, after which let us all have an interactive discussion, maybe see what are the everyday challenges, areas of work that you are facing, and what could be some optimum ways, strategies, or solutions to make it through them. So I hope I'm audible properly, right? Army, can you confirm? Am I audible? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So I am a computer science engineer by qualification and a content writer by profession and an aspiring journalist. In all my years of education, right from high school, I switched streams twice. I went for arts in 11th grade, studied there for like a month, and then shifted to science. Why? Because I felt like I was missing out on science and all the school equations, and science is awesome, wouldn't you say? So now when I moved to science, I completed school and went for engineering. I wanted to be a network and security engineer. Through my engineering, I started writing poems and short fiction and stuff and kept submitting to small magazines and e-journals. And slowly, one by one, my stuff started getting published. And it was such a push for me because I loved writing. And before I knew it, I started working part-time for one of those magazines. I got in touch with the founder and I used to ask him a lot of questions and stuff. And he saw my curious mind and offered me to join the team as their social media manager. Now, that was not a profile I was really looking for, but at least I got a way into the team, which was a big deal for me. So I was more than happy. And with time, I made my way up, to one of the editors and finally to being the managing editor of the magazine. I worked there for 2 years for free until the place started to degrade and then I quit. Now, one of my team members was the editor in chief of another magazine, which goes by the name Remington Review, which is where I started working. And I'm working with them till date as a function editor for poetry. It is beautiful. Every once in 4 months, I sit down with a couple of poems and read through. It is just amazing how fulfilling it is. So anyway, coming back to my story, I am in my pre-final year of engineering and I realized that all I do is write and read, look up magazines and literary projects and everything but my studies. It wasn't that computer science wasn't interesting to me anymore, but, and I tell this to everyone, if someone asked me to get up at 3 in the morning, and work on poetry or a piece of writing or, tell a story, I will do it happily and with all my heart. But if you ask me to code a program or run a network or something, even in the morning, I'm not sure I will do it with even one-fifth of the interest that I took in the former, The enthusiasm it doesn't even compare. So that was a moment when I knew that writing I could do all my life. 10 years from now, I can see myself sitting on a desk of a media house, writing a story and doing the same thing even on a Sunday. But I do not see myself worrying about a code that did not run or execute any day of the week. So, I used to have a dream board above my table in my hostel room. It was part of a soft skills training program. It was a sheet of paper of A3 size, and we had drawn, not written, drawn our immediate and long term goals on that sheet. And my sheet had like one goal related to my engineering job, which was to get a decent paying job and earn enough to pay for my sister's education and other things that my mom and dad would have wanted to buy or something. But the rest of the sheet had all goals, immediate or temporary or permanent, about writing and about magazines and whatnot. That was another indication to me. One of the immediate goals was to be the editorial head of the magazine that I was working for which it was something I achieved, thankfully, and I became the managing editor. And a long-term goal was to be the editor or one of the editors for Reader's Digest, if you know the magazine. It is my favorite magazine ever since I started reading it, around since I think I was 13 when I started. So anyway, this is a realization that I had, that most of my time and my passion was towards something else. But was I too late to realize this? Maybe, maybe not. I was late enough to maybe leave engineering and go for undergraduation in another subject, journalism or literature. But I wasn't late enough to do a master's degree. It was only sensible to complete graduation and then follow my passion. Granted, my degree, my engineering degree, is of no use now. But so what? Right now, I am doing what I like. I am talking to you guys about what I like. I sat in the placements in engineering. I got an offer. Then I prepared for the entrance of my master's degree. I missed classes and I flew to another state to give my interview. And then here I am today. I am preparing for placements again, but this time it is for what I love doing. So that's about me. Now, through all of this, one thing which kept me going was my habit of asking questions and not settling down until I got the answers. Now, this attitude made people dislike me too at times. But this was also one of the major reasons why people liked me for my work. I kept looking for opportunities. Everything that came my way, I took it. Now, that is not to say that you are not allowed to rest. I paused whenever I needed it. At times, you just don't have enough, mental or physical energy to take up a new project or a new gig, and it is okay to say no. Sometimes your creative juices just don't flow, and we shouldn't be forcing them. We should, let them run their course their own way. So now, moving on to more technical, or should I say strategic aspects of preparing for your career, I apologize if I have been doing a lot of storytelling rather than getting straight to the point. So that's actually but in my nature. So please feel free to send in messages, if any, to let me know if there's a particular direction of flow that you would want me to follow. So moving on to some key steps that you can take care of when you're preparing for your career. Michael, are you saying something? I hope I'm audible. I see there are a couple of messages. Let me check. Okay, audible. All right, thank you. That's it. Okay, I'd continue. So, all right, irrespective of which year you all are in, your basic ways to own yourself, and make yourself ready for the corporate world, they basically stay the same. You have to work hard. Make sure you are informed enough of things happening around you, new changes happening in your environment, new books to study, new opportunities, new skills to learn. There is no replacement for hard work. As I'm sure you guys have heard multiple times, well, it is true, and that's why we hear it so often, right? And so through the initial years of your undergraduation, that is pretty much your basic way to go. And one good thing to do is to pick up a specialization. Now, whenever there are a few things that you specifically excel in, that is always a plus point. It gives you an edge over others. It reflects as a highlight in your portfolio, and it makes it much more convenient for a recruiter also to decide your candidature for wherever it is that you're applying. And you can always go for certifications. A recruiter almost never asks for a real copy of your certificates, but that is not the point. The point is to be certified, right? Because that number, it reflects in your CV and it adds a very good impression. So through the years, you should try to take up whatever projects or pro bono work you can in your respective fields. And that is because every small experience counts. And there's something very important that I'd like to talk about today, which is that students always face this dilemma of choosing to work for free or being paid. And I've seen lots of students complaining that they don't want to take up unpaid internships. And now, having been a student myself and coming from a middle class family, I totally get this point. It is a concern that I share too. But I'll tell you what, when I was pursuing my engineering, all the small projects that I took up, working for magazines, writing for small startups, doing small internships, not a single one of them were paid works. They were all pro bono, which, if you don't know, is a Latin phrase for work undertaken voluntarily, without taking any income for it. So basically, it is free work, without getting paid. So right now, you can ask me why I did that. I could have very well asked for pay, right? Or I could have simply said no to projects that did not pay. But who was it harming? Whose harm was it? It was mine. Because for an engineer who had no qualification in arts or literature studies, or each and every experience that I took through the time was what made my portfolio, right? When I went for the entrance of my master's degree, in my interview, what got me in other than the written tests? It was my portfolio, right? Because the interviewers knew that I had no qualification, but they could see the amount of work that I had done in the field over the last couple years. And till date, more than 70% of what is written on my CV is pro bono work, free work, unpaid work. Only recently I started being bothered a little about pay. And that is because now I do not have the time, actually, with a very hectic course that I am engaged in. I do not have the time for work which does not pay. And also, it isn't that much of a necessity for me because I worked enough to strengthen my CV at least a little. So now I make sure that I am getting paid for what I do. But I still take up free projects sometimes every now and then to, whenever it is for a good cause. So money isn't that much of a concern when it's a good project. So I hope I have made my point here, which is, never say no to projects that can help you gather any sort of experience. Even if it is a bad experience working for a company or an organization or any kind of team, you still always learn something out of it. So, at least until you feel that you have done enough, that you have gained enough experiences, which is almost never, you should not stop. You should embrace every opportunity that comes your way. Go for all kinds of things. Work from home, go outside, take up practical projects. Basically, get out of your comfort zone, and because that is the only way you will progress, right? Now, as you near your final years, the things that you should take care of, very importantly, are what kind of personality is it that you exhibit? The way you express yourself at various forums and discussions, how you put forward your thoughts, your personal brand, and more technical things too, like writing a good cover letter or a well-written CV, resume, portfolio, etc. So you can always learn and perfect these things, and you can take references. By references, I mean taking help from your peers. So never shy away from asking people for references. Ask your friends, your seniors, even your juniors to share their work, their CVs, and so that you can see how they have presented something and see if that helps you in any way. So the best way also is to have a mentor, like Ibrahim mentioned, a guide. And this notion of having one mentor, I say you shouldn't stop at one. In fact, multiple sources of advice and perspectives are always more helpful in making a decision. Usually it is suggested to have a mentor from your field of interest, to guide you through everything. But as and when you pass through any stage of learning or work, people with different levels of expertise and experience can help you make informed decisions. Sometimes we can't predict or view the after effects or the results of a particular decision, or the results of a particular train of thought whenever you're making a critical decision in your career or in your studies. But someone who has already been through that door of decision making, that person can really help you out, really well. That's the importance of having a mentor and multiple mentors if you're at it. So another point would be to have a good planning. Good planning always helps. But the more important point that I want to say is people seem to think that proper planning should be done in the very beginning, right in your first year or even before you start college. And that is smart thinking, no doubt about that. But if you haven't planned till later stages, say you are in third year or fourth year, whichever year you're in, it doesn't mean that you can't do it now or that it is too late for it now. Any day of your studies or your career is a right day to plan and make a decision. It is about clarity and taking time to understand what is right for you. Sometimes it takes years to do that, and there is nothing wrong with it. Doesn't matter if you are in your final year, you can still sit down one day or a few days one by one and decide what it is that you want to do and plan it out for optimal execution over whatever period of time you have in your hands. It doesn't matter if you are a job, you can still sit down one day or a few days one by one and make a new plan. As long as the new plan gets you where you want to be, you are good to go. And you don't always instant results, and patience is the key, and baby steps are the way to go. Next is to, maintain a good professional presence. LinkedIn is the best example of that. Over time, you can excel LinkedIn if you do it right. And it acts as a CV itself, and it is a wonderful space for building connections and learning. Oh, and always have your own online portfolio, other than LinkedIn or other than your standard PDF or Word document form. You can use a platform like Google Sites or Portfolio Box. There are many platforms that you can use. So the standard resume formats can be very restrictive. You might want to add tens and twenties of things that you have done, but there is a limit to that. And with online portfolios, you're free to add whatever you want. For any individual, every little thing he or she does is important to the person, right? And you might want to include that when you're telling who you are, which is actually possible with online portfolios if you're going for that. You can categorize it as per skills, experience, education, publications, volunteer work, internships, etc. Right? And you can use all sorts of yeah. So when you thing is that the recruiter is free to go through whichever page it is that they want to see, and they won't complain that your resume is too long, which is something that we often hear from recruiters, because in standard forms we cannot keep them very long, right? It has to be 1 or 2 pages maximum. So that's one thing of using online portfolios. And you can use all sorts of multimedia, which makes it more interesting. If you've worked on a documentary, add the link, add whatever it is that you are proud to show, add videos, add your projects. If they're online simulations, add them. If you do art, add your art, whatever it is that you want to show. And although make sure that it is not very colorful and vivid, because we need to keep it professional. So using decent color combinations and proper image resolutions is very important. And keep updating your portfolio as you take up new projects and learn new skills with time. And make sure that you customize it also based on the field or the profile that you are applying for. So coming to one of the most important skills that you should develop for a successful career or preparation for your career is the skill of writing. It is something we study right from kindergarten, but to have proficiency in it is a different thing, and it is very important. A well-written article, be a project, an application, a cover letter, an answer to a question asked in an interview or an exam, any well-written article makes a huge difference. The minute your evaluator sees a poorly written piece of writing, it automatically reduces your chances. And contrary to that, the minute they read a well crafted piece, it automatically gives you an edge, also, right? So I suggest taking basic courses on writing and editing skills. And you should be learned enough to edit yourself what you write. You shouldn't need an editor every time that you're writing. So learn a basic framework, or yeah, a basic framework to edit whatever it is that you're writing. So this helps you in all the projects that you've done. It helps you in building any professional piece of work. Most students I've seen in technical fields of work, mostly they will clear their aptitude, their reasoning and technical rounds, but they get stuck at verbal reasoning or essay writing, etc. And writing, similar to group discussion, it is designed to be an elimination round. So the more perfect your writing, better the chances are of you making it. And then there's public speaking, of course. Wherever you go, communication will always be there. Presentations are key to any project. Even for pitching yourself, you should be good with it. It speaks of confidence. So public speaking is definitely a skill that you should imbibe. So to sum up, basically, you can categorize your plans as per your year of study. Use your freshman year to just get to know yourself, see where your interests lie, what subjects attract you. In sophomore, you can start exploring your options, talking to your seniors, see what track they followed, see what your peers are doing. Even get in touch with a career counselor if you feel the need. Maybe take a few career tests to get clarity and align yourself with your set goals accordingly. Junior year, you can set out to gain experiences. You can start earlier than that year too, but at least by this time, you should make sure that you have something in your pockets to show, as some kind of volunteer or work experience. And final year, as you know, is the time for job hunt and moving out into the corporate world, giving this final finishing touch and polishing up your resumes and applying to all places that you want to, becoming ready to step out. Time to face the real world. So this is pretty much your list of things to prepare for your career. And other more detailed skills and tactics, I think, will be covered by my co-speakers later. So yeah, I think that's about it. I guess we can open the floor for questions if there are any.
Sorry, Anushka, questions at the end of the program.
Yes, sir. All right, no problem.
Save your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your session. I really learned a lot. But what really touched me was the part where you were talking about following your passion, how you just had to do it. That even though you studied engineering, but okay, you had a passion for media, for writing, and you went ahead, you went for it. So I really like that. And I hope we can all learn from that because it's really important. And then also how about volunteer work, how it helps, how we need volunteer work because as an undergraduate, that's mostly where we can get work experience from. And we shouldn't just turn down volunteer work and say, okay, I'm not getting paid, there's nothing in it for me. So like all those jobs that you ask you for fresh graduates with 3 years of experience, and you'll be wondering, okay, how am I supposed to be a fresh graduate and still have 3 years of experience? But obviously it's exaggerated, but you get my point. So this is how you can build experience, this is how you can build your CV. So I hope we all paid attention, we all got what was being said this afternoon. Okay, so we are going to have another icebreaker right now, and this one won't take long. So this time around, we are going to be playing a game that we've been playing since primary school, or at least I've been playing since primary school. Call it the noun game, or as it's more commonly known, name, animal, place, or thing. So if you're interested in playing this, just type Y in the comment section. Oh, and sorry, this is for Zoom, people in Zoom only. Sorry for those of you streaming from YouTube and Facebook. Sorry, because we're not able to get your comments in time. And the winner is determined by how fast you send it. So please, okay, some people are already ready. So let me explain the rules very quickly. I will call out a letter, and then using that letter, that letter must be the first letter of a name, an animal, a place, or a thing. So I think that's explanatory enough, it's self-explanatory enough. So are we ready? All right. So you know the rules. Let's go ahead. I call on letter K. So remember, it's the first person to send a correct, four correct of words. Letter K. So we have Christiana Fabumi as our winner. So thank you all for playing. We have Christiana Fabumi as our winner. So please see us after the session and we will give you your prize. Okay, second letter is I call on letter D. D for dog. Okay, I've already used one. I call on letter D. So please go ahead. Caleb, you're missing one. That's only three. So our winner is Saeed Adeyemo. That's our winner for today for D. And finally, let's do the last one. Call on letter. Oh yes, Saeed Adeyemo. Don't forget, we have your prize waiting for you. Last letter is W. W. That's our last letter for today. So the first person to get it. Nobody. Remain one. Fawaz, you didn't get complete. Remain one. Okay, so our winner is Mary. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you all for playing. Thank you very, very much for playing. So we have our winners. All right. So, okay, I think I still have some recharge cards for people that did not win. Let me share before we go into our next session. Are there Airtel users in the house? Type 1 in the comment section. Airtel users, are you there? All right. Okay, so Airtel, I'm calling the digits now. 583810855014. So did anybody get that? If you got it, please inform us. Let's know. Thank you. Okay, and then so let's go to Glow. Are Glow users ready? Glow users are in the house. Are you ready? Type 1 in the comment section. Oh wow, so we don't have any Glow user. Okay. Any other Glow user? Well, I should just send it to Said. All right, so I'm going to call it now. We have 118086. Sorry, let me start. Let me start again. 11869527540 and then 7. Okay, so Kendi Basis got our Airtel. You're welcome. So Glow, I called out Glow. I hope you've gotten that too. All right, so we'll come back. We'll have another icebreaker session where we'll give more prizes out. For the people that won the now game, I'll contact you now to get your details. All right, so moving on. Our next session is by Miss Hauma. Yes, Miss Hauma. And then she's going to take a session on applying for scholarships and grants. Applying for scholarships and grants. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ms. Aoma Awogu is the founder of the Envisage Foundation and the CEO of the Carbon Credit Value Chain Enterprise. It's a climate advocacy company in Nigeria. She's well known for her advocacy concerning climate action and global sustainability. She's a recipient of the David Oyedepo Foundation School Full Scholarship Award and the United Nations Summer Academic Scholarship Award by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. She's privileged to be part of various non-profit organizations like Enactors Covenant University, Global Change Makers, Social Change Group, and Women Impacting Nigeria Foundation. She is very passionate about her dream to see a rejuvenated Africa and will devote her resources, time, and knowledge to bring this dream to fruition. So, without further ado, let me invite Ms. Haoma to take the floor. So, Ms. Haoma, we're waiting for you. We're ready for you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm very happy to be here today to speak to all of you. And I'm very happy because the topic that was assigned to me is something that I'm very passionate about, applying for scholarships and grants. I actually run a non-profit organization that is centered on letting youths and millennials know about scholarships, grants, internships, and stuff like that. So I'm very happy to be here. Please get your notes because I'll be saying a lot of things that will be very useful to you guys. And please let's make it as interactive as possible. So first of all, if you're if you're a sucker for opportunities, you know that the question has gone beyond what are the agencies that fund people in scholarships, or what are the agencies that give grants to how can I properly position myself in the sense that you get every single scholarship you apply for. There are a whole lot of opportunities available, but the problem is people that are applying do not know how to properly apply. They don't know how to properly position themselves, every document that they send, such that they get the opportunities they're applying for. So first of all, I'll be talking about personal branding. It looks like it is a tweak from my topic, but then it is very necessary because believe me, guys, the competition is fierce, especially people that are applying for international scholarships and grants. A lot of people are applying for this thing as you are, and you don't want to be the applicant that nobody knows for their impact, that nobody knows for their achievements. And this is where personal comes in. Yes, you're an undergraduate, or you're a recent graduate, but then these agencies have to know what else you're doing with your time. Don't be among the students that say, okay, oh, you're going to school and then you just want your degree and then you're leaving, because in the end everybody's going to leave with the same degree. But then these agencies want to know, what else can you do, what other experiences do you have. Personal branding comes in the sense that when your name is called, what comes to the minds of people when they hear your name? Do you understand? It covers what you put on social media. It covers your CV. All those things matter in your personal branding. So I need you to know that, okay, in as much as this is a scholarship or a grant, no scholarship agency wants to throw away the opportunity. It's a scholarship, yeah, it's a grant. It's not, they're not buying equity in your idea or whatever you have. But nobody wants to throw away the opportunity because there are a lot of people that are out there that are capable of this opportunity. They want to be able to say they have made some sort of impact by funding you, by investing in you, by investing in initiative. And if you're not able to position yourself in the sense that you're an impact maker, nobody is going to pick you. We have to be aware of certain things. So, like I said, during your undergraduate years, please volunteer with organizations. There are certain initiatives on campus. Please be a part of it, because when you get this scholarship, let's say you pass the first stage, and then you're called for an interview. You want to have something that you can talk about. You don't want to be among the applicants that the interviewer is bored when you guys are during your interview session. But in the situation whereby you have experiences, you volunteered in this organization, you have this amount of virtual internships, during your interviews, you will have a lot of things to say, and your session will be interesting. Everybody wants to leave a mark in the minds of their interviewer because he's interviewing a lot of people. And then if you just come and you're just boring or you're just like every other person, I mean, you'll be tossed aside. So please, let's take our personal brand seriously. What do you put out there on social media? What do people know you for? It is very important. As much as people just take it lightly, it is very important because most scholarships I've applied for, they've asked me to post the link to my different social media accounts. And in the situation where what is in your social media account is not, we know all these things. It's not just, you understand, it might make you like, it might make you not to be chosen for the program. So the next, let's go into the main nitty-gritties of scholarships. First of all is your essay. I've not heard of any scholarship that doesn't ask its applicants to write essays. The essay is a very important part of every scholarship, and we have to take it very seriously because this is one of the main things that disqualify applicants. The requirements for the essays are quite specific, but most times applicants just do what they like. Do you understand? They ask for specific details. Please follow it strictly. Follow it strictly. If they give you a topic, stick to that topic. Your
Because
essay
that
is not your essay is not your personal statement. They ask for essays, they ask for personal statements. I'm going to talk about that later. So don't, in your essay, don't start pitching yourself. What is the topic they asked you to talk about? Talk about it in your essay. Don't digress because the person reading your essay has a lot of things to, he has a lot of things to, a lot of essays. Like I said, the competition is stiff. So you don't want to be that applicant that they just toss their essay around, toss their essay aside because you're not making sense. Do you understand? What did they ask of you? Go straight to the point. Let your introduction be catchy. You want to catch your reader from your introduction. Then your essay is like a window into your life. Like, it shows your writing abilities, it shows how able you are to communicate, how you're able to communicate here. It's like a window into your life. You don't want cobwebs in your window. You don't want junk information. So be able to separate the junk information from the necessary information. You know what is necessary. It is there. Most times the requirements are very understandable. So please be very conscious of the information you put in your essay. Don't put junk information, please, because it can be a turn off to your reader. Then your ability to paint a picture of impact in your essay is very, very necessary. Like I said, no scholarship agency wants to throw away the opportunity. Yes, it's a scholarship, it's like a free thing, but nobody wants to throw away the opportunity. They want to be able to say they've made they want to be able to boast of you. Do you understand? So you should be able to picture or paint a picture of impact in your essay. If they see that you're doing, or you're an achiever, you're impactful. I mean, people invest in solution providers, people invest in critical thinkers, people invest in problem solvers. If you're able to show this in your essay, then I mean, I'm sure that you're going to be picked. And then talking about grammar, please, if you don't know how to write, you see, the internet and certain applications have made things very easy for us. If you don't know how to write, there are softwares that can help you. You can download Grammarly on your laptop. It corrects all your grammatical errors because you don't want to be applying for an international scholarship and then your essays have a lot of grammatical errors. It's a turn off. That is an automatic disqualification. And you don't want to be disqualified because of grammar. That's very embarrassing. So please ensure that your essay is grammatically correct. Ensure that it's easy to read. There are certain words that some people don't understand. You don't want your reader to start opening the dictionary to look for certain words. It's really not necessary. Use simple words, be concise, be brief, but then be detailed. Do you understand? I hope you're like writing all these things down because they are really needed. And then please, like I said, don't confuse your reader with inappropriate statements, junk information, things that are not necessary. Try to be detailed. but then be concise and go straight to the point. That is what makes a beautiful essay. You can go online and read up more about the essay. I need to be fast because I have a lot of other things to talk about. Yes. So there's also Grammarly keyboard. Somebody, you can go to the chat. Somebody just posted something about that. Yeah, moving on to the personal statement. I hope I'm carrying everybody along. Please, if you're hearing me, you can just type yes in the chat area so that I can know that, okay, I'm communicating. Okay. Yeah, so going on to the personal statements, this is one of the most important write-ups you have to write when applying for scholarships and grants. Most of us that are undergraduates, especially those in private universities, you're used to this because when you're entering, you'll be asked to like write a personal statement, a statement of purpose. Most people know it as a statement of purpose. This is like um this is like this is your opportunity to sell yourself. This is your opportunity to showcase your uniqueness in person. They want to know more about you. This is where the personal branding thing comes in because they want to know what you've been able to achieve so far. They want to know the impact you've made. They want to be able to see through your life just through that writing. Do you understand? So you don't want to be among the applicants that are known for plagiarism because it's even better you plagiarize in your essay, even if you're not meant to plagiarize in any one. But it's better you plagiarize in your essay than your personal statement because I mean, they want to know your uniqueness, and here you are plagiarizing. We know that there's one search engine, yeah. There might be plenty sites, but then there's one Google that we are all looking for information in. You don't want to have a similar personal statement to another person. It's a turn off. Like you don't want to be applying for an international scholarship and then you're having a similar personal statement to another person. It's really a turn off. As much as possible, try to be real because this is what they want. I remember when I was applying for the first scholarship that was read about me, one thing they emphasized on was genuinity. They want to know that you're real. They want to see that genuineness in your writing. Whatever they ask you for, try to be real. Try to pitch yourself to them in the realest form possible because this is what is going to separate you from other applicants. Many people can give it to and as much as possible, please, even if you give your essay to another person to write for you, don't give your personal statement to another person to write for you because in the end you're going to be called on for an interview, and if what is written in your personal statement is not correlating with what you're saying in your interview, it's a turn off. You're going to be tossed aside, and you don't want to be among the applicants that are going to be tossed aside. So your personal statement seriously. After this webinar or this conference, you can go online and read more about personal statements. You have to be strong and you have to be a good writer. Like I said, if you're not a good writer, please download Grammarly on your so yeah, be specific from line one. I'm just reading out things that you should just, if you're writing, you can write them down. Be specific from the onset. Your introduction is really, it's like your opening statement, and you have to be able to catch the attention of your reader in the introduction. If your introduction is boring, I mean, you've already lost your reader. And no matter how the body of your write-up is interesting, if your introduction is boring, it's already a turn off. Then include your achievements. I've already said all these things. Include your achievements, include your experiences, include what you've been able to do. They want to fund impact makers. They want to fund problem solvers. The last scholarship I got from the United Nations, what I remember solely was that I was able to pitch myself as a solution provider. So they're actually investing in the solution, not just you. I mean, everybody's an undergraduate, everybody has done some internships or the other, everybody has experience. But then what makes you different different is your ability to provide viable solutions to problems. So when you're applying for all these things, look for a problem and develop a viable solution and pitch it to them. You see, all these organizations, they can't help but invest in solutions. This is what they want to do. Not just you, they really don't care about you. They care about your solution and what you're able to bring to the table. Do you understand? So pitch your ability to pitch yourself as a critical thinker, a problem solver, a solution provider is what is going to set you aside from other applicants. That is about your personal statements. Now, going on to your CV. Your most scholarships opportunities, they really don't ask for your CV. But then when you're talking about grants, internships, we all know, even jobs, we all know that this is a very important document that has opened the ways for a lot of people. We know that. So I'm going to be sharing things don't things that you should not do in your CV, because most times your CV turns your reader off, or the person recruiting, when they see the format of your CV, if it's not um engaging, you can be tossed aside, and you don't want to be tossed aside. So the first thing that you should look out for is your CV format. Please don't submit a CV format in Microsoft Word. Yes, because you don't want to be in the position that you submit your CV in Word, and then maybe the person is using another version of Word, and then when the person opens it, it gets scattered or stuff like that. You want to be able to you want to your CV to be the way you created it. So please always submit your CV in PDF format. It is really necessary. Please always submit your CV in PDF format, because you don't want some things to be scattered. And then inappropriate wording. Like I said, this goes back to the writing thing. We've already talked about it. If you're not a good writer, use softwares that can help you. I once spoke to a HR manager that told me that he actually doesn't look at people's CVs. Now they are recruiting chatbots that are programmed to look for certain words in people's CVs, look for certain experiences, look for certain skills. So don't be surprised. Sometimes your recruiter doesn't actually look at your CV. They just upload it to the recruiting chatbots, and then it separates and stages applicants. You can go after the conference, you can go online and look for recruiting chatbots. That is what people use now. So if you're applying for a finance role, if you're applying for a tech role, you know the necessary skills that you are meant to have. You know the necessary words that are meant to be in your CV in quotes. You can't be applying for a position in finance, and then there are certain words that are lacking in your CV. You're going to be tossed aside. You know the certain skills, the necessary skills that are expected of you. You see, if you don't have a certain skill, let's say you're applying for a grant, and then a certain skill is needed of you, but then you know in your heart that you don't have that skill, put it there. But between the time that you applied and the time that you're called for an interview, go and develop yourself in that particular skill. Because if you don't put it there and other people have it there, you're going to be tossed aside, and you won't have an opportunity to be interviewed. So it's better you put it there, whether you have it or not, put it there. Then go back and develop yourself on that particular skill. Do you understand? So that's what you should do concerning skills, because I've heard some people, when I edit people's CVs, some people tell me, oh, I'm not good in this skill, don't put it there. I'm like, this skill is needed of you. If you don't put it there, nobody is going to look at your CV. You understand? So that is very necessary of you. And then please, as an undergraduate, even a graduate, let your CV not be more than 2 pages. Most of us on this conference, we know that. But then please adhere to it. I don't know why your CV should be more than a page. But then if you're really experienced, or you're really smart, you have a lot of skills, you have a lot of experiences, let your CV not be more than 2 pages. Nobody has the time to go through your CV. Nobody has time to go through 3 pages CV when they have up to 100 applicants. Please be concise, but then be detailed. And then your objective. Most people don't have an objective in their CV. Your objective is like a detailed, a short, a concise but detailed bio about what you're going to be able to add in the organization. What are you what are you applying for? What are you going to be able to do? Are you applying to learn? Are you applying to add value? If you're adding value, what is the specific place that you're adding value in? Go online, you're going to see people's CVs. They usually have an objective, but most times some people's CVs I see, there's no objective. So your recruiter is going to be like, what's this one doing? You understand? And then there are sites that help people edit their CVs for free. I like I said in my introduction, I run a non-profit foundation organization, NDCH Foundation. You can check it out on Instagram. They have on their page, you're going to see I once posted 10 sites that edit people's CVs for free. So if you can't do it, please don't go and waste your money and pay money to people to do it for you when there are sites that can edit it for you for free. So you can, after now, you can go on Instagram and check their page out and equip yourself. So that is about CVs. Please take courses. I also spoke to a recruiting manager once, and she told me that what she was using to separate applicants was the amount of courses they have. I mean, you're going to convocate soon, yeah? And then you're going to convocate, whether you're on a first class or a second class or whatever you are, you're going to convocate with that same degree. People out there want to be able to see what else can you add to the organization. If you're giving this grant, what are the necessary things that you can do with the skills that you have, such that the grant is not a waste, such that the internship is not a waste, such that the scholarship is not a waste. So your ability to be enrolled in certain courses is going to distinguish you. If you are applying for a position in finance, let's say applying for an internship, and then you don't have certain skills like financial modeling, data analytics, certain skills that are just never required of you. I mean, nobody is going to look your way. So please, your undergraduate years are the least pressured years, because when you convocate, you're going to be pressured and you might not have the time to take all these courses. So please utilize your undergraduate years, take courses, volunteer in organizations. There are virtual internships now, so you can't give the excuse that your school is always on, there's no holiday for you. There are virtual internships. I just finished a virtual internship some months ago. And I can say that the experience I got was even much more better than the one I went physically. I'm also going to post a link here at the chat box when I'm done, to a UK company that gives free internships for undergraduates. That is where I did mine. So you can have an internship in consulting, in finance, in tech, whatever. Please be engaged in those type of things. You don't want to be somebody that just has one degree. You're just going to be in the crowd. Please distinguish yourself with things that you're able to do with your time. So moving on to grants, I'm rounding up now. Yeah, so for grants, I've already said some things before, but I'm just going to be repeating myself and putting much more emphasis in places that need to be emphasized on. The last Japanese UNDP grant I got some months ago, one thing I solely remember is, like I said, my ability to pitch myself as a solution provider. This grant was for climate enterprises in Nigeria. And then they were to select very few people. Yeah. You know that these people, the competition is fierce, like I said. First thing, don't hesitate to amplify your achievements. Don't hesitate to amplify your impact. I'm not saying lie at all. But what are the things that you've been able to do? Amplify them. Brand it in a way that you look like a potential beneficiary. Do you understand? Brand. That's why I started personal branding, because That is what is going to separate you from the thousands of applicants that are applying for. Please don't hesitate to amplify your achievement. The competition is fierce. I'm telling you, the competition is fierce, especially those that are applying for international grants and scholarships. The competition, even local scholarships, this competition is very fierce. Please amplify your impact, your achievement, and brand it in a way that looks good. Your ability to pitch yourself as a problem solver is what is going to give you that you are applying for. You understand? Most grant agencies are very particular about the initiative and the ideas they are funding. Yes, it's a grant. They're not buying equity in your startup, or they're not buying equity in your initiative. But then they want to be able to boast of you, of your enterprise. So they're not going to throw away the opportunity or invest in any idea that is not viable. Please be able to pitch your impact to them. And then data wins grants a lot. Why did I say this? Because they want to see numbers. Do you understand? Your numbers don't lie. Numbers can be able to get the attention of somebody easier than words. For example, if you're solving a particular problem, your ability to tell your reader the amount of people that suffer from this problem you will be able to like tell this person that, okay, this is actually a pressing problem in this community. If you say, okay, every year 10,000 people or 5,000 people or 100 people suffer from this particular problem, and then you have a solution to this problem, I mean, you've already caught the attention of the person reading. So please be very particular about data. Be very particular about your numbers. You don't want to apply for a grant and then you don't have numbers. The amount the grants I've applied for in the past, I made sure that I was able to pitch the problem to them in a way that they can see it as a pressing problem. Like I said, people want to invest in impact makers. People want to invest in solution providers, people that can think critically and provide solutions to problems. So your ability to do that is going to separate you from others. And then scalability and sustainability. We all know that in Nigeria, most startups can start and then come 5 years, 10 years, they're nowhere to be found. Most grant agencies look out for your ability. Is this idea scalable? Is it sustainable? So when you're applying for your grant in your proposal, please include your sustainability plan. You cannot exclude this. If not, you're going to be tossed aside. Include your scalability plan. How do you plan to scale? What are the measures you have kept in place to sustain this particular business or this particular idea or this particular enterprise? And please, when it comes to the financials, you know that there's a financial place for your business proposal or whatever thing you're submitting to them to invest in. Don't over budget. If not, they're going to say, this one wants running away with our money. Don't under budget because you look like you don't know what you're doing. So please go through proper financial analysis and then come up with a detailed proposal that you're going to submit to them. Like I said, the competition is fierce. You don't want to be that applicant that is tossed aside for your inconsistencies. So I have 2 minutes more and I'm going to be rounding up with dealing with rejection. This is very important. As much as most people see some people's bio and then they see a lot of scholarships and grants they've achieved, a lot of people get rejected. I'm one of them. I've applied for a lot of scholarships and grants that I got rejected in. You might have seen my bio and you saw a lot of things that I got accepted in. But then nobody sees the ones you failed at. And then they think that you're a genius, or a lot of people fail in most applications. And your ability to deal with rejection well is what is going to separate you from others. Emotional intelligence is very, very key. If you're someone that continually applies for grants and scholarship, if you get rejected, I mean, they did not reject you. That just means that there are certain requirements that you did not fulfill. There are certain things that you do not show to them. So whenever I get rejected in any opportunity I apply for, I go back, look at the requirements. I identify the ones I'm not so strong in, because we know ourselves. We know the places that we're not so strong in. I identify those places and go back and refurbish my proposals. Go back and refurbish the documents that I submit. So please do not be among the applicants that when they are rejected for one opportunity, they just lose hope and then they don't apply for any other thing. Please be emotionally intelligent. Your rejection should be an opportunity for you to reiterate and add and develop yourselves better. So please don't be among the applicants that get downcast when they're rejected. You'll be rejected most time. You'll be rejected. Me, I know that I might still apply for something and get rejected, but then use the rejection in your favor. Thank you so much for having me. I'm sure my time is up now. If you have any question, please post it at the chat area. I'm going to answer you, and I'm going to also put the links to the free trainings and internships that you can take. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful to be a part of this seminar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alma, for that lovely session. I've learned so much and I thought I knew a lot already. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure all our participants also feel that way. So thank you very much. Please, if you have any question for her, she'll be ready at the end of the meeting to answer all your questions together with all our other guests. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much. So very quickly, I will be calling. Okay, before we go into the next session, I will very quickly be calling one last credit. I think, yes, one last recharge card. That's Airtel. So Airtel users, are you ready? I'm calling now. Very quickly, please. 5746 1229 9727 0667. Once again, 5446 1229 9727 0667. So thank you very much. All right, so our next guest is Miss Angela. Miss Angela. Okay, Miss Angela Isibo has a background in chemical engineering, BSc from University of Lagos, and she has a master's degree from Northeastern University, Boston, where she served as a graduate student ambassador for the department. She also has formal training in leadership from the Gordon Institute of Engineering Leadership, which earned her the title Gordon Fellow. She has served in different organizations and in numerous capacities, and she's also a scholar of the American Association of University Women and the Philanthropic Educational Organization, and she has received both of those scholarships. And currently, she works as an associate process engineer for H&B. So please, let's be very warm welcome to Ms. Angela Isibo as she gives us her session. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Angela.
Hi everybody. Can you guys hear me? Just you could just put thumbs up in the chat or something if you can hear me well. Can you see my screen as well?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, cool. All right then. All right, hi everybody. It's awesome. It's great to be here today sharing my stuff with you guys. My name is Angela, as you have heard, and one fact about me, I love apples. I really do love apples. My favorite fruit. Anyways, the purpose of my presentation today is to share my experiences and learnings on effective strategies to maximize international scholarships and internship opportunities, right? And My topic is really broad. I'll try to do as much justice as I can because scholarships on one hand is extremely elaborate, just like how Maf, talked about, and then internships is another big deal on its own. But I'll start by talking about the big picture, right? Just to be sure that we're all on the same page. And then I will talk about scholarships. I'll kind of divide my session into scholarships, internships, and then I'll wrap it up by showing you guys the best way to deliver, both on the scholarship front and on internship applications. Okay, if the host would indulge me, you guys please indulge me, right? I want to know who my audience is. So please unmute your mic, everybody, and I'm just going to ask and just say hi if you fall into the category. So how many of you here are undergraduates? Just unmute your mic and say hi, and you can mute yourself back.
Hi.
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 Awesome.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi. Hi.
Great. Thank you.
Hi. Hi.
All right. How many of you are more interested in learning about scholarships? Again, say hi.
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 How many of you are more interested in learning about international internships?
Hi. Hi.
It's like everybody wants to learn everything. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay, so quickly, in front of us we have a picture of a man, right? Hopefully the guy is handsome. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But anyways, he's looking at a big wall with a very convoluted ideas and so many things, right? And I'm guessing this is how most of us, this is how our minds are. When we think of our big picture, like we want to do 1,000 things, we want to achieve a lot of things. And we're just like, I don't know which one to start with. I don't know what should I do first. But you see, I love clarity. I love decluttering. And Anushka already mentioned stuff about decluttering. Like, it's okay for you not to be sure. But when you think about the big picture, think about it like this: your interests, your strengths, and your values, and try to bring them together, right? Whatever you can pull out of those three, that is your big picture. That's a good place to start. Now, having established what your big picture is, then ask yourself this question: does an international opportunity help me achieve this? And even if it does it help you right now? Or maybe do you first need to broaden your horizon or have depth where you currently are? These are questions you should ask yourself before going forward to know if you really require an international opportunity. This is one good way to gain clarity. Now let's talk scholarships. Okay, first of all, I would like to start by debunking some myths. These are very common, and that's why I believe it's very important that we debunk this, right? So work with me here. The first myth, you hear people say things like, I can only get a scholarship for academic study. That's not true. There are scholarships abroad for any field at all, be it photography, be it IT, even maybe spoon making. There are a lot of opportunities out there. The second myth is only for the gurus. I'm not that intelligent, or I don't have a first class, I wouldn't get it. That's actually not true as well. It's not all about intelligence, as I'm going to show you if you just stick with me. And the last one, this is very funny because it is also very common. I hear people say things like, the opportunity abroad is just one big holiday party. Nope, it's a lot of hard work and resilience. So now that we're all on the same page, let us get right into the heart of the matter. Now, scholarships could come in various forms, right? It could be scholarships as we know it. It could come in form of assistantships abroad. And so when you hear or when you see the word assistantships, usually this is given by the college or the school, the institution. And so they could give you a research assistantship or a teaching assistantship where you work for a professor and he funds your program. It could also be a fellowship, which could also come from a school or from an external organization. And then it could be a grant, as Haoma already mentioned. Now, one thing you need to know when you're searching for scholarships is you can go really broad, but it would help you when you, for example, type, in a search engine to be specific. Now, there are scholarships for various categories. Sometimes you see scholarships for Black people, right? Based on your race. Sometimes you see scholarships based on your discipline, so maybe Black engineers. Sometimes you could also see Black female engineers, or there are some emerging fields that they're trying to get people to study those courses because they don't have as much professionals, and they'll give out scholarships. So when you're searching, try to use all these categories as filters. So yes, be broad, but also try to see how you could put yourself in a box to get to maximize the opportunities out there. And of course, you could get scholarships through institutions. You could also get through organizations. I would say you should try, look in both places. And then there's a list of some helpful websites that you can check to find opportunities abroad for Nigerians or for Africans. And trust me, this list is far from being exhaustive. So please look online. All in all, I'd say that when you're searching, two big things: research and network. And I have coined an acronym for that, right? Which I call REWORK. Now, this is my acronym. I should probably patent it or something. But the idea is you need to do this again. Sometimes you search the first time, you don't find. It's a cycle. Go over it again. Research and network. And here I'll share a personal story with you guys. So the first year before I started grad school, I was looking for scholarships like a pin. Like, no kidding, guys. I was looking like a pin. I searched everywhere. I was always online. I found just a handful of them. Many of them, even they were way past the deadline. I was able to apply for a couple, I think 2, and I didn't get either of them. But of course, I tried again the next year before I got the scholarships that I got. So please remember to rework. Okay. Usually scholarships, I'm sure these are things you already know, so I'm just going to browse through this list, right? Scholarship applications abroad would require academic records if you are applying for an academic scholarship. If you're applying for like a social work scholarship, remember I said there are scholarships for so many things, not just academic study, right? So if you're going to apply for something, maybe if you run an NGO for like orphans or stuff, social work, you'd have to show evidence of your service in a social work setting to show that, okay, you are not just coming because it seems nice, but it's something you actually like to do and you have done before. They may require test scores. They require essays, they require a resume and letters of recommendations, also known as LORs. Now, if you ask me, I'll tell you, that essays and your LORs are the 2 big deals in your application. Obviously, you should get your application, your entire scholarship application, your package should be really tight, but really pay huge attention to your essay and your letters of recommendation. Now, let me talk a bit about letters of recommendation. If you're currently at undergrad, like many of you already attested to, right? Try to build good relationships with your lecturers, your professors, people who can recommend you, right? And be sure to pick your recommenders wisely. And I say this with so much emphasis because, don't say because your uncle is an MD of a company, then because you want the MD's signature to be there, then you give it to him when you know he cannot say the best things about you. Have people that can say the best things about you recommend you. And also, if you're going to apply for an academic scholarship, it is better to have a professor who understands the rigors of academic institution. It's better to have those kind of people say that you can succeed in academic setting than having your choir master, for example, just because he's your friend and he has known you since you were 5. So it's very important that you pick your recommenders wisely. Pick people who could say the best things about you. Now that we know, what is required, let's talk about the action. Guys, take this from me. Have this at the back of your mind when you prepare any scholarship application for an opportunity abroad, right? This is what is in the mind of scholarship providers. Institutions are willing to spend their money on students whom they know have the potential to succeed. Therefore, this is what you should show them. You see, Haoma already said something like, you have to show them that you're a solution provider. This is exactly what she was saying, right? They are willing to spend their money on you if you can show them that you have a potential to succeed. Nobody wants to throw away their investment. So no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're trying to communicate, always have this at the back of your mind. And of course, communicate. I cannot overemphasize this. If you're applying for international scholarships, that will mostly be in the form of essays and LORs. I'll tell you a bit about how best to structure your essays as we go forward. Okay, now that you know that you need to communicate, let's talk about what you should communicate in your application. Now, again, remember, you're trying to show them that you have a potential to succeed. You're trying to show them that you're a solution provider, right? One good way to show that you can succeed in the future is if you can show what you have done in the past. If you've shown that you succeeded in the past, it's a very good indication that you might do the same in the future. So share your relevant past experiences. This is one thing most of us tend to underestimate. We don't tend to capture our stories. This is where storytelling will come in. And that's why I really appreciate Anushka's session, because she showed you how to share a story, right? So try not to forget your success stories. In fact, what I do, I have a file where I write down my relevant experiences, because you really don't know when they will come in handy. And sometimes you might tend to forget because you're under pressure. So from now, start to think back, start to gather your experiences, start to put them together in your portfolio. Another thing is, do not despise your challenges. People tend to, shy away from their challenges. No. Remember your challenges and how you overcame them, and try to put that through in your application. Here, I'll also give you a personal experience. In one scholarship I applied to, we were supposed to write eight essays. I don't remember the title of this one, but it was something about my background and my family experiences. And I shared a personal experience about my family, the time we had, we went through tough times. And it wasn't because I was trying to gain pity or anything. It was just because I shared that this was a very challenging time for me, but I was able to overcome it by doing X, Y, and Z, and also getting back on track with my goals. That is very important, right? I'm not saying that is what got me the scholarship, but it was one of the things I put forward. Then also be sure to talk about what you want to do with the scholarship. That's during the time of study. See, this is where people also tend to make mistakes. They tend to put a lot of technical detail. Don't be mediocre in your application, but please be clear and succinct, and avoid unnecessary technical jargon. Avoid it. Sometimes it's not experts in your field that are going to read your scholarship essays. And even if they are, it is not an academic journal. It is just an essay. You're not trying to show them that you know the most that is being done in the field. And then finally, bringing this back to when we talked about the big picture, right? Always put through your strong why. Be sure to tie in how the scholarship would help you achieve your future aspirations. Always, this gives a holistic view. You know that, okay, yes, you have a really strong why behind what you're doing. So putting finishing touches on your scholarship applications, proofread your essays for grammatical error. Other speakers have already mentioned the importance of writing and avoiding errors. So always be sure to proofread. Ask for feedback, work with peers, right? I remember Anushka mentioned this. And just so you know, you probably hear a bunch of things that other speakers have said. It is because these are the important things. Repetition is made for emphasis. So be sure to take notes of these things, even though you've heard them before, right? So yes, please work with your peers. Don't be shy. Have someone else proofread your essays. Share your essays. Let someone get a second opinion. And even you yourself could be your editor, right? So if you write your essay, you could drop it for a whole week. Don't even look at it. Come back the next week. Then you have fresh set of eyes. You could easily tell where there are errors and make adjustments. Then we know, especially if you're in Nigeria, professors are busy, they're not their priority. So please check in with your recommenders. Make sure they submit the recommendation on time. Trust me, you don't want to not get a chance because your recommender did not send in your recommendation on time. And finally, apply to as many opportunities as possible. You really never know which one will come through, right? So please make sure you take note of all these things as you prepare your application. Now, without any further ado, let me go straight into internships, just to be sure that I'm keeping track of time. We know that internships are a great way. It's a great way to, get your foot in the door, to gain professional experience, and to grow your network. In some countries, it is called a co-op. In other countries, perhaps apprenticeship, but it's one and the same thing. How do you search for internships? You could choose to find a job opening for interns online, just like you would when you're applying for an actual job, right? And you could choose to reach out to the companies you are interested in. My recommendation, do both. Don't just look for only when they say interns apply. If you're interested in a company, reach out to someone who works there, because sometimes they might not even want to hire, but if they see that you're passionate and you're willing to learn, then they'll want to give you a chance. After all, it's just an internship, probably for a couple of months, and you'll be done. So please do both. Now, the key requirements, as you would know, of course, your resume, your cover letter, and I would add your willingness to learn. You could always apply for internships abroad by attending career fairs, virtual or in person, through networking events, and of course, online tools. We have a bunch of them. Again, remember my acronym, REWORK, research and network. This is really what gets you the deal when you're looking at international opportunities. You have to really network. Actually, some people believe that you should spend 80% of the time in your search networking and 20% applying. I'm not going to give you numbers, right? It's not about the numbers, but this pie chart is just to show you that you should actually spend most of the time networking than sending your resumes. Like Haoma told you, there are a lot of chat boxes. The competition is very fierce. Your resume might just go into a pool and nobody gets to see it. So please be sure to actively network when you're searching for internships abroad. Now, this is a huge topic and I can camp here for as long as possible, right? You know, it was funny because, again, other speakers talked about personal and professional branding. See, the truth is, you cannot effectively apply for a scholarship or an internship if your brand is not good, if you don't have a good professional brand. Now, when I mean good, I don't mean comparing yourself to someone in terms of your achievements, but I'm saying whatever it is you have, at whatever level you have, if you're not able to present it properly, you cannot effectively apply for any opportunity. So that's why this is very important. And a lot of people miss it here because they just don't know how important this is. You know that in today's world, it is your duty, it is your responsibility to put your foot out there. It is your responsibility to showcase yourself, to make yourself visible, right? And there are so many tools to do that. And even if you are not able to make yourself visible, it is your responsibility to be ready when the visibility comes to you. This is what you would gain by having a great professional or personal brand. And so your professional statements, this really is a summary of the things you want people to know about you that give you an edge in your space of interest. I hope you got that, right? It's a summary of the things that you want people to know about you, to give you an edge, to get your foot in the door so that someone can look your way, to give you a chance in your space of interest. So it's like you ask yourself these questions: what can people tell by looking at your profile or your resume or any professional material that you put forward? Now, does this tally with what exactly you want them to tell or to see or to know, right? So basically, your professional statement answers the question, what is your value add? We know that today the world craves value at every level. So I'll just give you, a short definition of what your value add is. It's basically what your worth is, what can you offer? And you should look at it in terms of, are you reducing cost? Are you increasing efficiency? Are you improving awareness? Are you reducing downtime? Whatever you're doing would be able to fit into something, right? So always be conscious of that and try to find out what your value add is. Of course, being a technical person, I would show you some math, right? When you're thinking about your professional brand, one way to look at it is your passion plus your values plus your strength equals to your professional brand. Now, this is a good way to start. These are things you can think about to help you bring together what your brand should be, right? And then I will add that your professional brand plus your results equals to your professional statement. And as a definition for professional statement, I'll say that professional statement is when you begin to communicate your brand. So your statement is what you would communicate when you are communicating your professional brand. Do you guys get it? Hope you do. So I'll show you some examples of a professional statement. Now, this is about to get interesting. I like this part, so I'm going to adjust for it. So now, we're going to role play, right? I need you guys to be involved in this. I am someone who's an undergrad, or I'm still in school, and I'm interested in being a writer, right? And so you are an employer, and I have 3 minutes to kind of show you that, okay, you should give me a chance in your company, or at least look my way. So I'm going to read this to you with that light and in that tone, and you guys be the judge. And when I'm done, I would like one person, just one person, to unmute himself or herself and tell me what you think. So let's go. I grew up right here in Lagos. As a child, I wanted to be a writer, mostly because writing helped me spend time with myself. I excelled in the arts from early on, placing first in my class. In college, I did some volunteer work for an environmental blog, which I really enjoyed. My first paid job was as a cashier in a bank, and I learned a lot from there, like time management, interpersonal skills, and leadership. I am interested in this position because I can work very hard, and I will be graduating soon. So, what do you think? Please quickly, one person. Thank you very much. No volunteer, really? Come on, guys.
Is the question whether we're going to give you the job or not?
The question is, what do you think? It's not about, you can't even give me a job by hearing my professional statement, right? This is just for you to look my way, for you to ask for my resume, for you to think maybe I could be someone in your company. So this is just, what do you think if I came to you as someone who would like an internship and you're an employer? What do you think of my, my statements, my package? Remember, we're talking about my passion plus my strengths plus my plus, what did I say before? My passion plus my strengths, plus my values, right? So what do you think of my speech, of my professional statement? So Ngozi, was it you that spoke right now? I think.
Yes, it was me that spoke right now.
Okay, so do you want to go? Help us, come on.
I wanted to give the students a chance to explain themselves, but I mean, if I was the one, I would give you credit for telling me a little bit about your story, but I'm not seeing what value you're bringing, because working hard is not necessarily a solution to my company's problem. So even though you work very hard and you'll be graduating soon, I haven't really seen the value add.
Gosh, I should give you a high five right now. So just take a virtual high five. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love your perspective. Okay, so let us analyze this, me and you guys. So remember, we're talking about what? Passion plus strengths plus values. So the first statement, the first line, I grew up here in Lagos. Oh yes, I grew up in Lagos, but is that necessary? For me, that's unnecessary for this statement, right? Now, as a child, I wanted to be a writer, blah, blah, blah. That is good. It shows that I'm passionate. I have been writing since I was a child. So that shows my passion, right? Which is good for a professional statement. But then again, I am saying that I like to write because it helped me spend time with myself. Remember, I'm applying to an organization. I'll probably have to work with people. Do you think it's good for me to show myself as someone who likes to be secluded? Maybe not. Then again, going forward, I talked about environmental blog. Okay, perhaps I'm interested in the environment, or perhaps it was just a coincidence that it was an environmental blog. The bottom lines I like to write. Okay, maybe not. And then I talked about my job as a bank, as a cashier. Now, no doubt, any experience you've had is quite important because you can learn transferable skills. But you see, for this course, the role is not as important. It is not as important to say that I was a cashier. So for me, that is unnecessary again. Then I talked about my strengths, but I am just listing my strengths. I'm not showing you how the strengths really matter or how I really use them. And finally, the last sentence, that really does nothing to me to tell me that I should hire you. So for me, this is just there. Now let's try another one. I am an efficient and resourceful writer and a researcher with a passion for environmental causes. I created and wrote a popular environmental blog while in college, and I contributed key findings to a paper on recycling published by my advisor in a peer-reviewed journal. When I worked at a bank, I developed strong interpersonal skills by working on numerous team projects and often volunteered to write departmental memos. I plan to put my skills and experience to work in a non-profit organization engaged in environmental advocacy, and your goals and mission are a perfect fit. Now, from the beginning, I shared my strengths with you, right? I'm efficient, I'm resourceful, and I shared my passion. Then I shared my results. I told you that I wrote, right, in college for an environmental blog, which also aligns with my passion. But not only did I write, my writing made it to a journal. That is a result. Then I shared my time at a bank, not just because the bank is not the issue, but the fact that I gained skills from the bank, and I showed you how by working with different projects. And then this also speaks to my passion, right? Because even though I had a job, I was willing to take on extra work as a writer, even though I was not getting paid for it, because of my passion. And then the last sentence does it for me, really. You know, it shows that clearly my goals align with what this company wants. So for me as an employer, I would want to give this person a chance. So this is an example of passion, values, strengths, and results in a professional statement. Now, quickly, basically be prepared, right? So let's say you've pitched yourself and the person is willing to give you a chance and say, okay, send me my resume, send me your resume. You need to be prepared. Get your resume in order. Now, this is not a session on resumes, so I am not going to talk about how to do your resume. There's so many online resources for that, but I'll just share with you the important things. If you're going to apply for an opportunity abroad, please check for the location, check for the resume that is accepted in that location. For example, in Europe, I know it's called CV. In North America, it's mostly called resume. In North America, if you have less than 5 years experience, you have no business doing a resume that is more than 1 page long. In some other parts of the world, you know, that could be accepted, or you could put some sections that are not acceptable. So basically just find out what resume works with whatever country you're looking at. Now, include only relevant content relevant to whatever job you're applying to. Don't say all your experiences, say the important ones, right? And also tailor your resume to the job description and have different versions of them. You can use keywords from the job description and put them on your resume. Then show and not tell. Now, this is very, very important. Very, very important. Show and not tell. I know people like to list a section of their soft skills, but for me personally, I feel like it's more effective when you put your soft skills in the bullet points. So instead of saying you have organizational skills, show when you had to use the organizational skills. Then finally, quantify your value and always include results. Learn how to quantify value at whatever level you are in. For example, you're working on a final year project and you're making soap. Now, everybody can make soap. I mean, there are so many people that make soap out there. But obviously, if you're working on the project, it's because you're trying to do something else. Maybe you're trying to find another way to do soap that will reduce the time to manufacture the soap. Understand the impact of what you're doing. So let's say before, people were doing soap and it was taking 10 minutes to form, and your new way is now taking 5 minutes to form, or maybe 8 minutes to form. The 2 minutes inside is your value add. Make sure you put that number. So you could say, I reduced the time for making soap by 20%. That is quantification of your value. And it's very good. People like to see numbers. And also communicate. Many people have touched on this, right? Practice how to clearly and effectively put your thoughts to words while avoiding unnecessary jargon. And then build relationships. And so very quickly, I would show you guys how to deliver, right? Both for internships and scholarships. Now, this is called the STAR method. It's quite popular when answering behavioral interview questions, but it works well in structuring your essays. Every paragraph of your essay, you can structure it like this. Situation, talk about what you did. The task, maybe situation is more like maybe, for example, I led a group, right? That's the situation. And then the task, what your goals were, what the goals of the team was, right? And then the action, this should talk about what exactly you did, your personal contribution to whatever project you're talking about. And finally, your results. This is a good thing to have at the back of your mind when you're structuring your cover letter or different paragraphs of your essay, regardless of what topic you're talking about. This is always good. It drives home the point. So take note of this. And then my final tips to you guys, right? Because I think I have just like a minute left. So please plan, think about what you want to do. Remember, we talked about big picture, but also be flexible. I'm not saying run up and down and do what everybody's doing, but be flexible. Start early because it buys you time to gather all your application materials together. Network a lot. Network a lot. If you're looking at opportunities abroad, network a lot. Of course, not everybody will be responsive, and it's not because they're bad. Some people are just very busy, but try to network as much as you can. Do your homework and be prepared. Be aware of cultural differences and communication styles, right? Because people from different countries communicate differently, and drop any cultural bias you might have. Be confident, believe in yourself. Know that rejection is a part of the progress. Like I told you guys, the first year I tried to apply for scholarships, I didn't get any. It was not until the second year that I got 2 scholarships. So please, rejection is a part of the process. In my experience, when applying for scholarships or internships, it is very important to recognize your value, for you to show it and to tailor it to the requirements. Humans are going to read your essays. So please, remember to appeal to their emotions. You're not writing to robots. Remember to make your essays flow, right? As a human being is going to read it. So this concludes my presentation for today. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you've been able to gain some sort of value from this. And thank you to everyone and the Efico team.
Thank you very much, Angela, for that lovely, wonderful session. Really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. Thank you very much. Wow, I learned so much, and I trust that everybody too has learned a lot. For me, starting from the myths, I like how you attacked that place so much. Because I think many people have it in mind that scholarships are just for smart people, or they're only academic scholarships. They don't realize that there are grants for all manner of things. So thank you for really opening our eyes, for showing us the right way to do things. Really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much for coming. So please, if you have any question for Angela, you can just hold them, and then at the end of the session, we will open the floor for all questions. So thank you very, very much. All right, let's move straight into the third icebreaker. That's our quiz. All right. So the rules are simple. Each question each correct question you answer, you get a prize. Yes. So all right. Very, very quickly, please. So it's random trivia. So don't worry, you don't have to think too much. Just the first correct answer in the chat box. So are we ready? If you're ready, type Y in the comment section. Are we ready? All right, let's go straight into it. Like I said, first person to answer the question. Right. So we have 3 categories. We have science, we have sports, and we have entertainment. So let's move on. So our first question. So our first question is on science. The binary system of numbering involves the use of 2 numbers, dash and dash. So first person to answer. Anyone? 1 and 0. That goes to Lekon Adenusi. Great. Next. The next question we have is under sports. In tennis, the word love means what? What does the word love mean? Sorry. Anyone? 0. That goes to Saeed Adeyemo. All right. In the comics, this is under entertainment. What was the name of Batman's vehicle? What was the name of Batman's vehicle in the comics, according to the comics? Anyone? Batmobile. That goes to Farid Suleiman. Okay, back to science. Botany is the study of what? Botany is the study of, come on, this is a simple one. Plants. Okay, sorry, that goes to Mary for sure again. Um, Next, under sports, a basketball game begins with a what? How do we begin a basketball game? So sorry, okay, that question is scrapped because I answered it. Next, what is Hannibal Lecter is famous for? Anyone? What is Hannibal Lecter most famous for? That question goes in 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Wow, you guys can't type fast. I expected some people to be Googling the answer. Next, okay, so it's famous for being a cannibalistic serial killer. Even as a show. Even as a show about it. Stalagmites, back under science, are carbon mineral deposits that rise from the what of caves. Where are stalagmites found? Anyone? Anyone? Caves? No, more specific. On the what of caves? Bottom to the top. That's good. That's Lake Adenusi. So stalagmites are found at the bottom. They come from the bottom ground up. Next we have, oh sorry, it's stalactites that come from the top, just for us to have that back of our mind. Now under how many hurdles are there in a 400-meter hurdle? How many hurdles are there in a 400-meter hurdle? No, that's not the answer. How many hurdles are there in a 400-meter hurdle? No, not two either. Three. I'll give you 5 seconds before the question goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. No, actually, there are 10 hurdles in a 400-meter hurdle. Next question. What entertainment? This is another entertainment. What is the name of the cat in the Disney Channel movie Cinderella? That is also the name of a US TV show. Anyone? The name of the cat in the Disney movie Cinderella. That is also the name of a TV show. Lucifer. Thank you. That's Gozichi. Let's move on. Okay. That's the answer. And then that's our last question. So thank you very much for our winners. I think we had 4 people that won. So thank you very, very much for that. Now we'll be moving straight into our next session, our next and final session, given by Miss Ngozi Ikweni. Now, Miss Ngozi Ikweni is a first-class graduate of accounting from Babcock University, and she's a first-class graduate of accounting from Babcock University. She's an MBA holder in business analytics. Okay, she's passionate about leveraging finance and technology to improve the standard of living, and as a result was made the team leader for Inactus B of Babcock University. That's a non-governmental organization that encourages students to provide innovative solutions to communities that impact the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are people, profit, and planet. Now there she trained and mentored many youth and community members in business entrepreneurship. Ngozi was awarded the MBA Distinguished Student Leadership Award for academic performance, leadership initiatives, and professional achievement. She has worked in several organizations, including KPMG, where she was even awarded the 2017 Excellence Award for projecting the KPMG brand. So, and in 2019, amazingly, she was named one of Forbes under 30 scholars. So please, let's give a very warm welcome to our last speaker of the day, Miss Ngozi. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. Thank you so much to Efico resource team. I'm very excited to be here to talk to everyone. I hope you can hear me, and I'm just about to share my screen. So we've had the basic introduction. Um, I wish I knew everybody's name to like call everybody one after the other, but since I don't know everybody's name, I'm hoping we can connect after this. Thank you, Angela, for the section that you shared. How can everyone see my screen? Just say yes, unmute your mic and say hello.
Screen.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're looking at financial
Hello.
advice. Okay, hi guys.
Hello.
We're looking at financial
Hello.
advice and investment planning.
Hello.
Basically, I have a degree in accounting and finance, so that's where I started from my law for math. And currently, I'm an investment analyst with the World Bank in Washington, D.C. So I'm looking forward to interacting with everyone today. So I'm going to jump right into it. The first thing we want to look at, like had been mentioned by Angela, which is very important in any situation, is why. Why are we talking about investment and planning? Why are we talking about your finances? Why are we talking about how to become wealthy? So it's important to understand why, and I'm going to be sharing from my personal experience. One of the reasons personally why I plan my finances and look at my investment is because I want to be able to achieve my dreams and I want to be able to impact the lives of other people. And we know that money is essential to this whole process, because even if you get a scholarship and you still need to be able to manage the funds that you get from that scholarship. And even if you want to apply to grad school, you still need some personal savings and some form of investment to be able to support you in pursuing your goals as much as possible. So sitting back and taking a minute after this session to think about your finances is an important. Why do I want to be rich? Why are my finances important? So we'll go right into it. Who is a wealthy person you know? I just need two people to tell me who is a wealthy person you know. You can say the person's name. Just unmute your mic and tell me who is a wealthy person you know.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Who else? One other person? Michael, I can hear you. Who else? Okay, is that the chat box? Let me see.
Bill Gates.
Okay, Bill Gates. So a lot of this, we know a lot of wealthy people, their brand always speaks for them, but the world's wealthiest people are valued based on their net worth. Their net worth. And net worth is not measured by your cash in the bank, but the value of your financial and non-financial assets. When we go further in the slides, I'll explain a little bit more. But basically, assets are the things that you own, and liabilities are the things that you owe. So assets are the things that you own, and liabilities are the things that you owe. So how do you calculate your net worth? What investments do you have? What assets do you have? What liabilities do you have? And to define wealth, I combine three elements. Like Angela had her own formula. So this is my own formula. You look at the brand, your investment, and your liquidity. So I'm going to take these three parts. That's how my presentation is going to go. Your brand being the first, your investment, and then look at your liquidity. So let's start with your brand. I know that Angela had touched a little bit about this, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but your brand is how you promote yourself. So if Oprah, for instance, decides to go into a bank and says, give me 10 million, even though she has a business plan that she wants to do with that 10 million, her brand facilitates the process of getting her that 10 million as fast as possible. So your brand is how you promote yourself. What are your unique skills, experience, and personality that you want people to know about you? Because as you make investments in yourself, even monetary investments, your brand play a role. A lot of businesses, startup companies, the founder, the personality of the founder, the brand of the founder, how much integrity the person has goes a long way in attracting investors, right? Also, you as a person, in looking at what kind of investment should I make, your brand comes to mind. Because even if you come to a bank and you just say, oh, I have 1 million naira to do an investment, they'll first of all look at you from head to toe to determine the kind of investment options that they want to give you. So what words describe you when you put forth an investment proposal? We're going to look at that as well. So according to Warren Buffett, there are three qualities of an excellent person. And I know that the whole package of this seminar or webinar is to talk about an excellent person. And for me, excellence is a culture and a way of life, and it cuts across every area of your life, including your finances. I don't think I've seen an excellent person that is completely broke, because you also have to apply that same excellence in managing your finances. He looks for three qualities in an excellent person: integrity, intelligence, and energy. The first one, which is integrity, is the most important. And if you don't have that integrity and that discipline, the other two are likely going to kill you. So the last point on brand, which you can ask further questions later, but we have very limited time, so I'm trying to move as fast as I can. Your excellent brand increases your net worth. And how do you increase your net worth? The first one is, I know you've heard this song by Burna Boy that says, can you bank on it? So can you bank on your brand? Can you walk into a bank and say, I need 10 million naira because I'm Ngozi Ukweni? So your brand should get to a point where you can bank on it. People can trust you. People can say this person is authentic, consistent, this person never stops learning, and this person has built an expertise in a particular area. The second point in building your brand is increasing your net worth by managing your social media platform. I know we've talked about some of these things on branding, but if I'm reading your personal statements, the first place I go to look for you is LinkedIn or your profile on social media, just to have an idea of the kind of person that you are. You need to follow investment sites on social media and know what kind of products that they are offering, what kind of services they are offering. And the last part is to grow your network. So I'm not trying to brag, but I know that if I need 10 million naira now, I know at least 10 people that can trust me with their 1 million naira each. So who are the people in your network? Who are the people you're making friends with personally and professionally, right? You need to actually think about those things because they have an effect on your brand. The next one we'll look at, I said the first one is brand. The second one is your investment. Don't underestimate the value of a simple budget. How disciplined are you to keep a simple Excel sheet that has your budget, right? We're going to look at a little bit on budgeting. The first thing is your income, right? Break down your income into your main hustle, your side hustle, your investment income, and gifts and donations. So gifts and donation that you get from your scholarships, grants that you get, your main hustle and everything should be documented in an Excel spreadsheet. I use an Excel spreadsheet for ease. I use other finance calculator as well that I'll be sharing later. But calculating your income is very important, and being consistent is not something that you're going to take lightly because it affects your future. It's an investment in yourself. The next thing is your expenses. Be realistic about your expenses. So as a firstborn, you have family tasks already. So make provision on your expenses for percentage that you want to use to hang out with your friends, your family expenses, and your other needs. So if you take your income and your expenses and subtract them, you have your savings. Now, how do you break down these savings? And I've given you a rough estimate. This is just my personal calculation, but you need to remember that the breakdown of your saving is going to be based on your financial profile and your financial situation. We'll look at that on the last slide, but have a percentage that breaks down your savings on how you want to spend that savings. So 90% of it goes into your savings and 10% becomes your liquid fund for any emergencies that you have that you're not planned for. Now, this calculation is not cast in stone. This is just what I use personally that I'm sharing. So my monthly budget I do on a monthly basis, just to know where I am. And my annual net worth I calculate on an annual basis. So at the end of the year, as part of my personal evaluation as an excellent person, I look at what is my net worth. I was going to tell you my net worth, but I'm going to hold on to that information. If you want to know my net worth, you probably just text me and then I'll tell you what my net worth is. But basically, my assets are, you need to calculate your asset. What are the new assets you acquired this year? So assets are the resources that you can make money from. Your laptop, your car, your brain. So how do I quantify my brain? If I do trainings, right? And when I do trainings, people pay me. That is an asset. My brain is worth the amount of money. I mean, that's not what it's worth, but just to put it in monetary terms, I tend to calculate it based on whether if I upskill and go for a training, I spend 10,000 naira increasing my brain capacity. I add that to my asset for my brain, right? So what are those things you have that you can make money from? Your car, are you using to do Uber, or is it just parked in your house? Your laptop, what are the assets that you have? All those things you need to document. Your liabilities, what do you owe? So you have a loan, you have to give your parents 10,000 naira every month. That's liability. You have to put it there. you're working on your dreams, you're investing in a small business, your business you're working on, you have to buy materials. Those things are your dreams and they are liability. If you're going to spend 10,000 naira of your money every month to invest in your business, that is a liability that has to be documented. And the same way you have assets liability, you also have your investments. I'm going to touch more on the fourth slide in details on investment, but just a quick breakdown. You have long-term investments, which are like euro, dollar bonds that you can buy. I don't know the amount of finance people that I have here, but I'm going to explain as much as I can. So a bond is a long-term investment that you make. So you buy a bond you can buy a bond from a commercial bank, but bonds have a coupon of like 10% depending on what the bond is. And then they pay you the money after 10 years. So they'll give you the 1,000 naira coupon. Let's say it's a 10-year bond and it's 10%. They give you the coupon, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000 coupon rates. Then at the end of your investment, you get your principal amount back, right? You can have real estate investment. I know that we're going to really talk about it based on your risk profile as much as possible, but let's wait until we get to that section. We have short-term investments, which are like your money market or mutual funds. I invest in small businesses, my friends' businesses that are well documented, like you have to show me your revenue and your expense and how you intend to repay me back before I give you a loan. But investing in small businesses can also be a way to grow your investments. Also through crowdfunding. People have funded small businesses through crowdfunding, and they have made returns. But the whole process about it is legality. How legal is that business? How do you trust what they are doing? Are they reputable? Who are the co-investment into that crowd fund as much as possible? You can also invest in foreign markets. I have one particular slide on investment in detail then I'll be able to take more questions on that. But the most important thing here is that you need to seek to increase your assets and calculate your net worth. Look at your risk versus return. A rough calculation is if I see an investment from Stanbic, which is my bank, that says that they're going to pay me 5% interest rates, right? A quick way to say it, if you've heard of the rule of 72. So the rule of 72 tells you how long it will take you to double your investment. The rule of 72 says that if I invest 10,000 naira a year at 2%, right, every year, for me to be able to know how many years it would take me to double that 10,000 naira, divide 72 by 2, which gives me 36 years. So if I invest 10,000 naira at 2% annually, then I'm going to be able to make 20,000 naira in 36 years. So you need to, up the top of your head, when you see some of these things, you need to be able to identify, what your return is. As part of your investment planning also, look at your bank account. A lot of times I see that when I started my career, I had like 4 bank accounts, and one day I just went and closed all of them to just 2. And the reason is that if you look at your bank statement every month, you see so many deductions, credit, debit, alerts for SMS, stamp duty, this and that. So by having those multiple accounts, these banks are charging you different rates, 50 naira, 20 naira, and you think that those monies are not material, but when they become collected, they become material. So you need to look at your bank statement. You need to pay attention to your finances. Another way to look at it is you need to also invest in products that you understand. So I went to my bank and I asked them, okay, what are the products you have available? You might never know. There are small investments that you can make at 5,000 naira, 1,000 naira a month, and cumulatively they increase in value, right? You don't have to wait until you have 10 million before you make a significant investment. And you can also look at what products, and if you don't understand the product, reach out to your friends that are finance professionals, or ask the bank, or ask whoever your advisor is. Let the person just help you understand what the products are as much as possible. The next point I have there is try not to have miscellaneous funds. So some of us, when we do our budget, we have miscellaneous. Any money that you can't account for, you can't account for it. At the end of the period, you can't tell where you spend that money because you just have it as miscellaneous, which is, you had arrived as emergency funds, right? Emergency funds are better than miscellaneous funds that you don't have any track of what happened to them. But most importantly, the last part of this, the second to the last thing I want to talk about is your savings and your investment plan should be customized based on your financial profile. So where are you at this moment? Where's your finances at this moment? That helps you determine, am I getting 10,000 income every month? Do I need to save up more before I make a significant investment? Those are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself as much as possible. Now, the last part of the three things I talked about, your brand, your investment, and your liquidity. I had an interview about Dangote where he said that the day he realized he was rich was the day he went into a bank and asked them to give him 4 million naira cash. And they gave him a Ghana was got 4 million naira. And he brought it home, just looked at it. And to him, that was the day he realized that, okay, maybe I'm actually rich. So liquidity is your ability to get resources you need when you need them, right? You cannot say you're an excellent person and you're very good at your finances, and when you want to meet an obligation, you want to spend money on something that's important, you're broke. So managing your liquidity, like how much do I need at this moment? How much do I need over the next 1 year? Liquidity is usually short term, within a year. How much do I need within the next 3 months? Requires a lot of discipline and monitoring your investments, right? You also need to have somebody to be accountable to. For me, as part of my mentoring program with my mentees, we have a financial plan, and every month they tell me how much they have saved or how much they intend to save for us to get to our goal at the end of the year. So having that conversation with them makes them accountable. It means that if their friend, they go out with their friends and the bill is 5,000 naira, they know that next month, and their monthly budget for hanging out with friends is 2,500. They know that next month they can't go anywhere because they've spent the 5,000 last month. So having that conversation and having someone to be accountable for can also be a way of managing your liquidity and managing your investment. Also match your investment fund to the tenor of your needs. So if you're planning to go to graduate school within the next 1 year, you need to make provision for your application fee. You need to make provision for getting, transporting yourself to school, to talk to your professors about your recommendation. So some of those needs that you have, that they are really short term. So you cannot go and invest in a 10-year fund where you actually know that you're going to need money over the next 2-3 months. Then also use simple financial analysis tool available for evaluating your investment. So just type in a financial calculator, reach out if you don't have one, and you can build anyone, but just to help you have a sense of how much can I put in this investment? Does it make sense? Because when somebody tells you make an investment of 15%, that 15%, is it daily? Is it monthly? Is it annually? Those are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself. And a simple online calculator can help you understand how much you're going to make and how much is your return going to be. The last and important slide here is investment planning based on your profile. Like I said, we are all in different stages of our lives. And for you to understand your investment, to get it right, you need to understand where you are. So based on the response that we got from Angela's presentation, I assume that a lot of us are undergraduates or fresh out of school, first 2 years. So your risk appetite is high. You want to make money as fast as you can. Appetite is high, but your risk ability is low because you don't have a lot of money at your disposal, right? So the focus here is to gain financial independence while pursuing your higher education or personal development. And a lot of your investment here is going to be in your brand and in yourself, right? So start building your savings. I told myself personally, sharing my personal story, I told myself that I was going to be saving. I wasn't going to make any huge investment until I had 1 million naira, right? And to make 1 million naira, it meant I had to save 100,000 naira for 10 months, right? So break down your financial goals to small denomination. Am I going to save 1,000 naira every day? Start by building your savings and meet your specific goals, like furthering your education, doing a training, like a training that is important to your career. So some of the products you can have here is interest-based savings. I don't know how many people know, but you have interest, although in Nigeria, the interest rate on your savings account are very minimal, but they have policies. So for instance, if the interest rate is 1%, they have policies like if you withdraw more than 4 times from your account, you won't get interest on your savings, right? So you need to be aware of those things. And if that's what it means, that means I know that from my bank account, I have to withdraw only twice, so that I can get at least the 1% they're going to pay me on my savings account. So interest-based savings is one way. Mutual funds and money market is another way. So what they do in a mutual fund is First Bank and Stanbic have very good mutual fund products that they offer students as well as early stage employees rather. They are short-term funds that you buy and you can withdraw them at any moment without losing your principal. So what I mean is, if I have 10,000 naira and I put it in this mutual fund, and for some reason, for emergency, I need 2,000 naira, I can go and withdraw the 2,000 naira, and they continue giving me interest on the 8,000 without cognizance to the 2,000 that I withdrew. So the difference I'm trying to get is different between your mutual fund and treasury bills. Let me just explain those two together. Treasury bills are buying government securities that are risk-free. So when you buy a treasury bill, for instance, and the rate is 10%. So when you go to the bank and say, oh, I have 1 million naira, I want to buy a treasury bill and it's 10%. What the bank does is that they buy the 1 million from you. They give you 100,000, which is your interest, which is your 10%, 100,000 upfront, right? So that means they take what they take from your, let me explain that again. You have 1 million in your account and you go to your bank and say, I want to buy treasury bills, right? Treasury bills of 1 million naira. What they deduct from your account is 900,000. So you get your 100,000 upfront. And after 6 months or whatever the period is, they give you 1 million. So those, in a treasury bill situation, you get your interest upfront. They keep the money for 6 months, and then at the end of 6 months, they give you 1 million naira. And that amount of money, you can't, within that 6 months, you can't go to the bank and say, give me money, right? So the principal, you can go, but they won't give you, they'll charge you a default rate for it. So basically, for a treasury bill, you can't collect the money till after 6 months that you've given it for the tenure of the period. And for a money market or a fund, you can actually walk into the bank anytime and say, I need money from my mutual fund or my money market. Also, you can make investments in equity stocks of very established company. So you might not have a lot of money, but you can buy 1% or one share in Uber, right? Or one share in Amazon or something really small for a well-established company that the stock is not likely to fall as often. Now, I try to focus here because I know a lot of us are within this bracket. The next stage is moderate appetite and stability. So by the time you start working 4 years into work or 4 years into your business, if you're an entrepreneur, depending on what your position is, like I said, your financial planning depends on your position and where you are in your finances. So in this stage, you're maximizing your return. You're trying to accumulate as much wealth as you can. Then you're making enough money to make significant investments. So you start looking at investing in corporate stocks. You start looking at investing in high potential, SMEs or tech companies based on your interest. Remember, the key is invest in only things that you understand. Not that somebody says, oh, bring money, we'll give you 50% return. You just go and bring the money. If you don't understand how the investment is going to work, seek additional clarity. I'm not saying be afraid. I'm saying ask for education on the product or whatever the service is. Also, you have here investments in joint venture, real estate, currency swaps. I'm not going to have time to go over all of them, but if you have questions, we can now look at them in details. And when you have people at the older age, the objective here is to, control your expenses as much as possible. And you also have dividend paying stocks at this stage. But the most important thing here, as I said earlier, is to make sure that you understand the investment, make sure that you're able to identify what your financial position is at the moment, and calculate your budgets every month and your net worth at the end of every year. So my final tip for us today as we go into the question session is that to be an excellent person, you have to gain strong financial independence. It builds your confidence. And I'll tell you for sure that once you break through of financial independence, you have a very big confidence. And then oftentimes to pursue your goals or to impact the lives of other people, you need some level of financial independence. So paying attention to your investments and your finances is very important. Even as you gain scholarships, some scholarships give you monthly funds to take care of your expenses. You also can invest that amount of money and not consume every bit of it. So thank you so much. I'm hoping that we can discuss later when we have questions. I appreciate sharing with you from my knowledge.
Thank you very much for that insightful session. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Wow, that was amazing. So we've not only learned today how to get money, how to get grants and scholarships, but how to invest them, how to use them well. That's really amazing. Thank you so much for that amazing session. We're really grateful. So I think we can just go straight into the question and answer session. Please, anyway, whether you're watching live from our YouTube channel or our Facebook Live, if you have any question, please send them and then we can start. So please, if you have any question, now is the time to send all our tailor your questions to the guest. Like you can say, okay, Miss Angela, in your session, you said so. How, like, be more specific in your question so we know who is supposed to answer. Thank you very much. Please send your questions now. Do you have any question? Okay. Let me check where did Am I to assume there's no question? Okay, I'm going to leave questions open for 1 more minute.
I think we have a question in the chat box from Obeyemi.
Yeah. So he says, Miss Ngozi, do we always have savings when matching expenses with income? Miss Ngozi, please help him answer that. Thank you. Miss Ngozi,
Okay, yeah, sorry. So to answer that question, you have to have savings, because if you're making 500 naira, you can't spend all the 500 naira. That means you're living above your means. So you have to find a way to cut down on your expenses such that you have savings. So when you're matching your income to your expense, there has to be some sum of savings if you're serious about your financial independence. So I would say that your savings are important, even though you're matching your expense to income. We can look at the simple budget, off the charts when you have some time. So Obayemi says, so for what I mean, when you have emergency funds are for speculative reasons. That's what I tagged as emergency funds under your savings. So when you break down your savings, 80% go into investment, 90% go into investment, and 10% I hold as an emergency fund for any speculations that might come up that I did not plan for. So 10, at least I would say 10%, but it could be less than that or more than that. And then I also see another question from Dada Kende. Do you want to read out the question for everyone?
okay, from Dada Kende, it says, thanks, Ms. Ngozi. I respect your rise to the World Bank. How important is financial modeling and accounting softwares relevant in accounting softwares? I'm not sure I get your question. Can you? I'm not.
I think I have an idea of what the person is asking. So if I get it right, what I understand is financial modeling is an important skill as an investment analyst. That's if it's your career path, right? Not as if you're not a finance. If you're a finance person, you need to learn financial modeling, because irrespective of the software that you use, the software can give you the forecast, but you need to understand the software and the output that's going to come out from that model. So it's a skill that you can have to sell yourself. Is an upskill and a training that you need beyond your knowledge of accounting and your certification. So financial planning is important, and a lot of people use accounting softwares, but what is important, what I think is most important, is being able to interpret the output from those softwares.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Ngozi, about buying, this is from Benjamin Suleiman, says about buying shares and bonds with established companies. How do we know how to buy these bonds?
Okay, so I would say that first of all, before you buy a bond, you need to understand the product, and there are some platforms that explain to you what the product is about. So how I look at it is if I look at the amount and I look at the coupon rate. So for bond, what is important is the coupon rate, like I said. So the coupon rate is 10%, for instance. You know that if you use the rule of 72 off the top of your head, 72 divided by 10 means 7.2 years. So how whatever amount of money I invest, I'm going to be able to get my money back, twice that money back in 7.2 years. So for bond, the most important thing is the coupon rate, and you can use the rule of 72 to, estimate what you're going to return or how you buy the bond. But also gain knowledge of it. If you don't have, you can ask a friend who's a finance professional to explain. I can't really go into detail because we are running out of time.
All right. We have another question from Saeed Adeyemo. He says, thanks, Ma. If money can give income, wait, what? Which category does our investments belong? If money can give income, expenses, and savings, which category does our investment belong?
I don't know if I get the question very well, but what I understood was that, like, every month I do income X minus expense and I have savings, and out of my savings I make my investments. That's just how I think about it. So savings come from your investment majorly, and then when you make returns on your investment, they become income for the next month or the next year.
Okay. Another one from Uluwani Shola. Ms. Ngozi, how best can you advise someone with an unstable income inflow on financial discipline to investment? Okay.
So I'm trying to understand what you mean by unstable income, in the sense that you don't have a job, or like you don't have a job or you don't have a business and you're not making money on a stable. I mean, you don't have to have a stable income to make an investment. You just have to, even if you're making 500 naira a month or a week, all of those things are cumulative, and you know that you can't, if you can't find an investment that's 500 naira, it means that you can find one for 1,000 naira. So if you save 500 naira for 2 months, you can make the invest. So you just need to tell yourself that I'm working towards a goal and I need to save towards that goal. So I would say that the discipline, nobody can do it for you. You have to apply yourself, just like every other goal, to save up if you know that your net worth is very important to you. So yeah, you just need to start from somewhere.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay, this question is for Ms. Anushka Pandit. Says, what advice do you give someone who wants to change his career path to a different field? So please, can you answer that for us, please? Anushka,
I'm here actually, so I can take it up. Anami, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So once again, the question is,
all right. So the question is,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what advice do you give someone who wants to change his career path to a different field?
Okay, so see, I can maybe lead by my example. And so you saw how I had I was into the third year of my engineering when I realized that I wanted to change my field of work. But the only thing is that you should be sure about what it is that you want to do. It is never late for you to change. I mean, as far as you are confident enough that there is something, if you remember when I was speaking, I told you something which I ask everyone: whenever you are facing a dilemma between two things, or about anything and you're not sure about it, just think of it this way. If you are asked to just wake up in the middle of the night and asked to do something, what is it that you would want to do? I mean, the thing that you're considering as your passion, do you think at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the night or at any odd hours of the day, do you think you'll be able to do it? Do you think you'll be willing to do it happily and not with some kind of load or some kind of pressure, stress on your mind? That is your first indication to make you understand that, yes, that is actually something which you can do. Try to think of it from a future point of view also. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, do you see yourself doing that? What is it that you see yourself doing? If you're confused between two options, you can measure them that way. You can do a comparison between the two and see which one is it that you're very comfortable doing later also, a few years down the line. That's basically about your inspiration and deciding what you want to do, how you want to do it. But then coming to properly how to actually do it, it depends. I mean, I think it varies based on where is it that you are right now. I mean, if you're pursuing your undergraduation or if you're already working and you want to change. So I'll suggest if you're studying right now, any time is fine for you to change it. Just make sure you have a backup, you know. So when I was in my engineering in my final year, I made sure that I sat for placements and I took a placement offer, you know, because I wasn't sure if I will make it into the entrance of my master's degree, you know. And if I hadn't, what would I have done? So I made sure that I had a backup offer. So always make sure you have a backup. As far as you're in your study phase, you can always make the transition. And I will say, even if you've completed your higher studies in one subject and you want to change after that, that is fine too. Just but you have to be practical at times, you know, in an economy. Even though we might say that it's not a big deal, let's face it, you know, in an economy, you know, which is very unpredictable for any country or for the entire world, as we can see right now, you have to be very practical. I mean, there has to be some kind of financial backup. So make sure you have that, and with that in your hands, you can go and just, you know, pursue what you want to do. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so we have another question. This one says, what advice or saving scheme will you propose for a university undergraduate who has a side business? How many percent should go into savings and investments? I'm guessing this goes to Miss Ngozi.
Yes. So basically, I would say that, like I said, when you calculate, even if from your business, if you calculate your income and your expenses, and like I said earlier, you get your savings. And in my opinion, at least 80% of that savings should go into an investment. 10% you can reinvest in your business, depending on the level of the stage of your business. And the remaining 10% you have to keep for emergency funds or speculations or things you did not think about. And for investment, I would say start with mutual funds or start with treasury bills. That's an easy way to start because they are short-term funds and they give you short-term returns. But currently, the market rate is not so good for treasury bills because of the pandemic. So just keep an eye on it. And mutual funds and treasury bills are usually the best way to start before as you grow your investment portfolio.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the next question is to Mr. Ibrahim Alimi. How do you advise a student who is slow at understanding and grasping on studying? He's asking for study advice, someone that is slow at understanding and grasping things. Mr. Ibrahim, are you there?
So he took an excuse. He left. Or is he there?
Okay, go ahead, sir. Please answer the question for us.
I said he took an excuse. So
I'm saying, can you ask? Sorry.
oh, what's the question? What's the question, please?
How do you advise a student who is slow at understanding and grasping to study? How do you advise the student to study?
How do you advise what?
A student who is slow at understanding and grasping things to study.
Okay, so it's just to have your plan. So you don't have to compare yourself with others. So you have to think about where do I like. There's something about the plan about your premium time, your premium place of study, and then your premium technique of reading. So you have to understand not everyone knows how to read in the library or something. So you don't have to compare with others. Have a structure for yourself, and then when you have a structure for yourself, it's very easy for you to manipulate yourself and then achieve excellence if you want.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, we have a question from YouTube. It says, this is from McLean Josh says, how do we save up when the expenses are way bigger than income? How do we save up when our expenses are way bigger than income? So he didn't relate it to anybody, but I feel any one of our speakers can answer that for us, please.
I think it's a lot of money matters, but like I said, it takes a lot of discipline, right? But I think what's most important, if you look at it, if your expense is more than your income, you're living above your means. It is just clearly what it is, right? So you have to look for a way to either grow your income or reduce your expenses. If you have to say no to certain expenses, then say no to those expenses because your savings are very important. So I would say, watch your expenses and make sure you're not living above your means. Reduce your expenses as much as possible because sometimes you can't actually control your income. So your expense is the one that is within your control and you can work on it.
Okay, thank you for that. And this question is still to you. Still on shares. For instance, I'm interested in buying shares in X company. Do I just approach them about it, or there has to be an advert or something?
Okay, so if you look at the stock market, right, you can use the stock market or you can use applications like Robinhood. There are easy ways that break down like investment for you and tell you what is available for you to buy, because some companies, their stocks are already all bought out, right? Or you might find someone that's willing to sell. So you need to follow some of these platforms. I think Robinhood is a very easy one that gives you a lot of breakdown on what stocks are available and how you can go about it. So I think you can start from there. Researching on it will give you a better idea. But the stock market, tracking the stock market is one way. Using applications like Robinhood is another way. But those are the two things that come up off the top of my head at the moment.
All right, thank you very much for that. So please, because of our time is fast spent. If you have any other question, mail it to our Efico account. That's eficoworld@gmail.com. Eficoworld@gmail.com. It's already in the chat box, so just check. Any other questions, forward it to them. Thank you very much, all our speakers, for your time. We really appreciate
Hello,
your
I have something to say, please. Sorry, I have something to say.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
just 1 minute. Hi guys. So thank you so much for today. I really appreciate everyone for coming to this event and this webinar. For me, the KPI for measuring the success of this event has been ticked by me. So more often than not, it's just one of them that remains now. So I want you all to, number one, follow us on our social media platforms. I want you to follow us for several advices and several updates on several webinars like this and more of our value proposition. So if you are also watching from the YouTube channel, I want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel because a lot of resources are being placed on the YouTube channel to actually help you. So on our Instagram handle, we are Efico Resources. On our Twitter handle, we are Efico Resources. On our Facebook handle, Efico Resources too. And then YouTube, Efico Resources. Try and subscribe. We have several updates. Of course, we just started, we just started real time during this pandemic period, but we have several plans, several skills, and several goals that we really want to achieve. So join the movement. I want you all to actually understand the fact that the future is bright for us, and then we have a lot of propositions that we want to actually serve you. We want to serve undergraduates, and the whole essence of course, as I said, is to make education make sense to all of you, and then to ensure that you're truly successful upon graduation. Please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media handles. Thank you so much. Aname.
All right, thank you very much for that. Thank you all for attending. This has been a lovely session. I've had fun. I really learned a lot, and I hope you all have as well. And please, if you won a prize and you have not gotten your airtime, please let me know at the end. And so I'm going to call on Mr. Mike to take closing remarks. So, Mr. Mike, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Aname. It's been a very wonderful program. Good afternoon once again, everyone. The Director of Efico Resources, our most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege again to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks. I, on behalf of Efico Resources, the entire planning committee of this program, and my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for gracing us with their presence today, for sharing a lot of insightful thoughts, advice, and personal experiences. A big thank you to Ibrahim Alimi for his time and effort to prepare a wonderful presentation for us and gave us a lot of insight on working towards academic excellence. Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim Alimi. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to Anushka Pandit, a freelance content writer from India, for giving us an excellent coverage for preparing for a successful career path. The period when I had to reach out to the speakers, I had messaged Anushka Pandit on WhatsApp and had given her a lot of reasons why she should come to this particular event and speak to the students. She has a lot of experiences in training students in terms of career preparation, internships, and all. So we are really grateful, Anushka Pandit, for taking out time out of your no time to come present to us. Thank you very much. I must mention a deep sense of appreciation for Ms. Auma Wago, the founder of Evisage Foundation, for her insightful explanation and advice on applying effectively for grants and scholarships. We are indeed very grateful for your advice and sharing your personal experiences with us. Thank you very much, Auma. I'm also very, very grateful to Ms. Angela Isibo, a process engineer and Gordon Fellow, for demonstrating to us with an excellently made presentation on how to apply for international scholarships and internships. She covered a lot of important things to note when applying for these scholarships and has given us a lot of advice, one of which is rework, that's research and networking, which is a very important thing to note. Furthermore, I'm also very grateful to Ngozi Queenie, investment analyst at World Bank, Washington, D.C., for taking out time to be present for us today. She covered a whole lot on investment and budget planning for funds gotten from our grants and scholarships, and also a good general LD financial advice. We are really grateful for you making our time to come today and address us on these topics. I cannot thank everyone enough for your involvement and attendance to this great event. I thank the participants on Zoom, those on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for coming to learn and develop yourselves on the topics covered today. So the director had initially, earlier made a presentation on what Efico is all about, Efico resources. And to summarize it all, it's a platform for students development. Okay, so you come into our family, and then we tend to develop ourselves in different ways, academically, professionally, personal development, and all. And we have hubs in different universities in Nigeria, head by the ambassadors. Okay, the ambassadors are volunteers who wishes to lead hubs in their school. So if you're interested in joining Efico resources, wherever you are, if you're a student, you can send me a message. I'll drop my LinkedIn profile ID or my WhatsApp number or whatever, or you can send a mail to our email address at eficoworld@gmail.com. It's going to be a wonderful experience, especially if you're a student. We offer different form of soft skill trainings, technical trainings, a lot of personal development and professional trainings for students, so that upon graduation they become, well equipped for the world outside. So thank you once again, everyone, for making our time to come for today's program. And I really hope we've learned a lot. Thank you, and thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike, for that lovely closing remark. Okay, so once again, I hope you've learned a lot. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, all our guests, and even just our participants. We are really happy to have you. So we hope you really join our hubs and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can learn more. So thank you very much, everyone. Please, if you've not collected your prize before like 5 minutes, please let us know. Thank you very much and have a great day, everyone.